A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters!
Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Chief Cody and rookie fireman Tim Collins in the Chief's office in Headquarters Station, where Tim and the Chief are relaxing after their tussle with the escaped monkeys. A rescue job that gave them more headaches and laughs than they've had in a long time. Now, before Tim goes back to regular duty at Rescue Headquarters, he's having a chat with the Chief. And as he talks, the phone rings. What that call means and how it leads to the narrowest escape in Tim's career so far, we'll see right after this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's get over to Chief Cody's office in Headquarters Station, where Tim Collins is puzzling over a statement just made by his superior. What did the Chief mean when he said that on occasion it was extremely dangerous to fight a plain, ordinary fire with plain, ordinary water? Then, just as the answer was forthcoming, the phone rang.
Just a second and I'll explain, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Chief Cody speaking.
This is Lieutenant Dillon, sir, 4th District.
Oh, yes. How's Captain Grover, Lieutenant?
Up to his neck at the moment, Chief. The fire in the storage loft on Elder Street.
Yes, I checked on that. Don't tell me your engine company can't handle that.
Well, it's on the 2nd floor, and it managed to get a head start before the alarm came in, sir.
Well, why don't you hit it with all the water you've got? Pressure trouble?
No, sir. That's not it, sir. That loft is filled with bales of rags waiting to be sent to manufacturers of paper.
Bales of rags? Well, be mighty careful, Lieutenant. Handle that one like a baby.
We'll take every precaution once we get at it, but we need masks. You know the dense, acrid smoke that stuff gives off?
Did the 2nd alarm go in yet?
Yes, and that's why I'm calling. Department Telegraph Bureau informs us all rescue companies are in action.
Forget it. I just came off a job with the rescue squad myself. They'll be back at their station by now. May already be answering your special call.
Fine, that takes care of that. Sorry to have bothered you, Chief.
You'll have all the Drager masks you need in a matter of minutes. It isn't getting at the heart of the fire that bothers me. It's pouring water in I don't like.
I know, Chief, but there's no other way.
Okay, but I'd like to make doubly sure. I'll look in on you myself. You know the danger as well as I do. So long.
Do you mind if I ask, Chief, is this an oil fire? Are those bales of rags you mentioned full
This has nothing to do with oil, Tim. They're just plain rags to be used in making paper.
Well, then, sir, what's wrong with using water?
Now, you come along with me. Join your company on the spot and you'll see, son.
If it's just a routine blaze, we'll be able to reach it with Drager helmets, Chief Cody.
Sure you will. And that's where your trouble will start.
Trouble?
Well, that's putting it mildly, Tim. I should have said danger. This is exactly what I was talking about a minute ago. A routine fire that has to be fought in the routine way.
Well, gosh, sir, with plenty of water...
That's it. That's the danger. Let's not lose any more time, son. Let's roll.
From then on, Chief Cody is too intent on getting to the scene of action to answer any more questions. And as his bright red car pulls up before the storage building with dense smoke pouring from the 2nd-story windows, Tim's mind is occupied with the job ahead. His buddies have already arrived, and several of them stare down from the windows, looking like men from Mars in their weird helmets that allow them to move freely through the smoke. Engine company men are dragging a heavy line up the ladder to them as Tim dashes to the truck for his own equipment.
Never mind the mask, Tim. Looks like one of the engine company boys has been bowled over by the smoke.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Dillon is helping him over there.
Yeah. Say, I know that guy, sir. It's Andy Parker. He and I were stationed together before I was transferred to rescue.
Private Parker swallowed a bit too much smoke, Chief. He's kind of woozy.
Well, I'll take care of Andy, sir. I'll have that inhalator out in a jiffy.
Forget it, Jim.
Huh?
I told the lieutenant I'm okay.
All right, but you sit here by the truck till your head's clear, hear me?
Want to see the captain, Chief Cody?
When he's free, Lieutenant. I'd a lot rather see the building inspector right this minute.
We gave him a ring. He's on his way down now.
Fine, good work. In that case, I'll just take a look at the situation till he gets here.
Say, what kind of a mystery blaze is this anyway, Andy? Building inspectors, danger from water? What goes on?
Just a plain old fire that's darn hard to get at by me. Want me to help you out with that harness, Tim?
No, thanks, Andy. Pass out on me now, and I'll have to break that insulator up.
Miss all the action pumping air into me? I don't blame you for not liking that.
Yeah.
Pete's sake, Tim. That thing looks like a diver's helmet.
Yeah, well, in a way, on account of the circular glass plate in front of it. But it's a lot lighter.
What you guys call a Dagger helmet, huh?
Yeah.
How long can you work in the dense smoke in one of those things?
Well, as long as the supply of oxygen in this metal flask lasts. If I can get that hooked on my back, it's good for several hours.
Here, let me give you a hand.
Yeah, all right.
That's some outfit. Metal flask on your back, bag on your chest, and tubes running every which way.
Yeah, well, that tube on the front, leading into the bag, it passes through a container that removes the carbon dioxide that I exhale. I can breathe in any atmosphere as long as I'm fed oxygen from the cylinder on my back.
You're going to need plenty up on that second floor.
Yeah.
You could cut chunks of that smoke with a knife.
Yeah, how'd you fellas get through it?
No, we didn't. That's why you guys are here. We've been trying to fight the fire from a stairway leading up from the first floor. Rugged deal.
Yeah, well, in 2 minutes I'll be up that ladder and climbing over the windowsill where there's really something's doing.
Okay, I'll take the low road and you take the high road and we'll meet on the second floor, Tim.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You can't go back
Who
there.
says so? I feel fine now. Here, let me help you out with that helmet. We'll have no more back talk from you.
Yeah, but... not so fast, pal. All I have to do is open this glass window in the helmet. Now I can hear you, and more important, you can hear me.
Sorry, Tim, I can't wait. I got a date with an old flame of mine. See you later.
Tim has to smile at his friend's anxiety to get back to work. But now that he's ready, he has a job of his own to do. However, as he approaches the ladder against the wall of the storage loft, Chief Cody signals him to wait. A few minutes later, Tim is still fretting with impatience, and then the chief beckons him over toward the main entrance to the building.
I didn't want you to get up there with your buddies, son, till I was sure the engine company didn't need you here.
Yes, sir. Everything under control now at this end, Chief Cody?
Not by a long shot. Now, careful. Don't trip over that line through the door.
Yeah. There's this helmet. I might as well take it off.
Not so fast, Tim. And don't look so peeved. I may have a job for you here. Now, this line leads up to the head of the stairway. The source of the fire seems to be close to that spot.
Only the smoke pouring down is preventing them from reaching it?
Yeah, you got it. Your buddies are tackling it from the second floor. They can move in closer with their masks. But the engine company's having trouble.
Yes, sir. Well, how about my moving up the stairs and taking over the nozzle?
Only if they're driven back again. In that case, you'll take over the hose. But hold back on the water till you see the heart of the blaze.
Yes, sir. Say, I'd forgotten. What is the danger of using water to fight this?
Well, we're safe at the moment. But if and when the crew on the second floor let loose, start pumping in tons of water in that room, piled high with bales of rags.
Yes, sir. What then?
Just a minute, Tim.
Huh?
Looks like my men are being driven back down. Oh, too bad. Here comes Lieutenant Dillon.
It's no go, Chief. That acrid smoke pouring down those stairs is just too much. I had to pull them out, my men.
I was afraid you would. Do you think one man can handle that nozzle once the pressure's on and that line starts bucking?
Oh, I'll manage somehow, sir. Just let me get my helmet closed and I'll take over. Some of those men over there look pretty badly done in, Lieutenant.
They are, but let me finish what I was saying. We got right up to the head of the stairs. That's where the flame seems to be concentrated.
And there isn't a minute to lose.
No, sir. But not only for that reason, sir. One of my men crawled ahead, just got off the stairs onto the second floor. We were getting the line up for him when he keeled over.
Good grief. You mean he's still there?
Yes. We couldn't get to him. There's smoke more than the flames.
Oh, could your men give me a protective shower from the line while I crawled up there myself?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only way. We still can get part way up the stairs. But with that Drager helmet.
Right. You take over, Tim.
Yes, sir.
That man who passed out up there.
Andy Parker. He shouldn't have come back. He already had too much, but he said he was all right.
Oh, that guy has got what it takes, Chief. He's the kind that never gives up.
A friend of yours, Collins?
Well, don't say was, Lieutenant. He is a friend of mine. I'll bring him down.
I know how you feel, son, but
There can't be any buts, sir. Andy would do the same for me. I'm going to get him back down those stairs, or else.
Can Tim crawl through the billowing smoke and reach the side of his friend before the flames? He's certainly going to try. But for the moment, he's forgotten the mysterious danger hinted at by Chief Cody. What is it the Chief fears once the rescue company men start pouring tons of water into the second floor? Well, for the answer to that, be sure to listen to the next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In a moment, Chief Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own hometown. But first, let's listen to this message. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a word for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. I guess by now all of you who listen to me know how to turn in an alarm. And I expect after doing that, you'd remember to stay by the box till the trucks arrive so you could direct them. But how about the possibility of a fire when telephoning would be a quicker way to bring men from my department? Have you memorized those fire department numbers as I suggested? Good. Then here's the next step. Probably not every member of your family has done that, and you can't always expect them to. So I suggest you personally see that all vital phone numbers are posted right near the phone in your house. Now, if you haven't done that, it's your assignment for this time. And until the next time, this is Chief Cody saying, so long to all of you.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters!
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're an investigating sergeant. You're assigned to Traffic Division, AID. Death and tragedy is forecast for the people of your city. You don't know who the victims will be. You don't know how many there will be. Your job? Try and stop it. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, July 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of Traffic Division, accident investigation. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Deputy Chief Caldwell. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the scene of the accident, and it was 9:42 p.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, second floor, treatment room 5.
Joe?
Hi. How's it going?
Not too good.
How are they?
Bad, all four of them. Girl who was riding in the front seat, both legs crushed.
Oh, no.
Talking to Doc Hall, nothing you can do. Gonna have to amputate.
That's a shame. All the parents been notified?
Yeah, they're on their way down now. Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks.
I got a match.
All right, thank you.
Still touch and go with the kid who was driving, the wheeler boy. Doc doesn't give him much of a chance.
Possible to get a statement from him?
No, still unconscious. They get pictures of the wreck, all right?
Yeah, they did. The car the kids were in laid down 207 feet of skid marks. From the condition of the car, it's a wonder any of them are alive. Not a straight piece of metal in the wreck frame. How about that couple in the sedan they sideswiped?
Doctor isn't sure. Both have internal injuries. Woman's right leg is fractured. Man has a possible concussion. Lousy thing.
Every one of them's old enough to know better. What made them think they could get away with it? Oh, hi, Doctor.
Friday?
Any change, Doc?
Which one you mean?
The Wheeler boy?
No, it's still the same. The other three kids are doing a little better. It's a shame. None of them are more than 14, 15 years old, are they?
Both the girls are 13. The Wheeler boy's 16, the other boy's 12.
Yeah. Pretty young to be out alone burning up the streets. How'd it happen?
Well, one of the girls told us that the Wheeler boy picked up the three of them about 8 o'clock tonight, asked them if they wanted to go for a ride in his father's new car. Well, they thought they were going down to the neighborhood drive-in for a Coke.
Yeah.
Well, the girl said they drove around the neighborhood for a while. Wheeler boy was bragging about what a good driver he was, how fast the car'd go. Kept telling the kids that he could drive as fast as his father did.
Yeah. Well, I hear it's too bad you can't hold the father.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious he didn't set much of an example. Well, the girl told us that the Wheeler boy drove down the highway. She spotted a police car behind him and told the Wheeler kid to slow up. He said something like, my father outran a cop the other day. If he can do it, I know I can. Well, the kids pleaded with him to pull over and stop, and he wouldn't listen. Told him to shut up and hang on, that he'd show him some real fancy driving.
Had to chase him more than 19 miles, Doc. Car in pursuit radioed in for help. We tried to block off the intersections ahead of them. They were just going too fast.
How'd the boy crack out?
Sideswiped the sedan with that old couple in it. Lost control of the car, went into a skid. The car hit the curb, blew a tire, piled head-on into a parked truck. The impact drove the engine of the truck right back into the cab. I never saw anything like it. The car the kids were in is almost broken in half.
Well, I've done everything I can for him. I'll keep the Wheeler boy in the critical room. Nurse is in there with him now. I'll move the other three back into the ward.
We want to make our report, Doc. You got an empty slip on it?
Yeah, I just finished it. It's right in here.
Thank you.
You know, I got a 16-year-old boy, Friday. Every time I make one of these things out, I say a prayer.
Yeah.
Hope they never have to make one out for my boy. Well, excuse me. I better go back in there and check on that youngster.
All right, Doc. Thanks.
Look at this MT, Frank. Everything in the book.
What's that?
Listen. Grace Andrews, 13 years, occupation student. Fractured jaw, teeth knocked out, facial cuts, internal injuries, crushed pelvis, and shock. Here's the next one. Nancy Haynes, 13 years, occupation student. Deep facial cuts, compound fractures of the right and left legs, crushed chest, possible concussion and shock. The other boy, Walter Stewart, 12 years, occupation student. Deep facial cuts and contusions, shock and possible concussion. Fractured ribs, possible puncture of the left lung, left hand severed above the knuckles. Here's the slip on the Wheeler boy. Charles Wheeler, 16 years, occupation student. Crushed forehead, possible spinal fracture, both legs broken. Fractured ribs, broken pelvis, deep facial cuts, severe internal injuries, and shock.
My name's Wheeler. Where's my boy? What have they done with him?
All right, take it easy, Mr. Wheeler. Doctor will be out in a minute.
I don't want the doctor. I want to see my boy. Where is he? What happened anyway?
Would you keep your voice down, please? The doctor will see you in a minute. He's with your son now.
Who are you? What do you know about it?
Police officers. Your boy had an accident. We're investigating.
I know he had an accident. They already told me that. Whose fault was it? Who ran into him?
Nobody ran into him, Mr. Wheeler. The accident was his fault.
What do you mean it couldn't have been? That boy's a good driver. I taught him myself.
Would you keep your voice down, please?
I want to get to the bottom of this thing. I want to see my boy. What are you stalling me for?
Nobody's stalling you, sir. You can see your boy as soon as the doctor okays it.
I'm going to take him to my own doctor. I wouldn't trust my boy in a place like this. Who ordered him here anyway?
We did. It was an emergency. The ambulance took him here from the scene of the accident.
Well, you still haven't told me how it happened. Now, why do you say it was his fault? Why are you accusing him?
It was his fault, Mr. Wheeler. There's no doubt about it. He was speeding, and a police car tried to catch him. He tried to outrun him. In the process, he ran into a parked truck.
I knew it wasn't his fault.
Sir?
So he was going a little too fast. Charlie's a good driver. Why'd you have to chase him? Probably the cause of the whole thing. You're the ones to blame.
All right, take it easy, Mr. Wheeler.
Take it easy, nothing. Why couldn't you let the kid alone? He can drive as well as I can. Think I'd let the kid have my new car if he couldn't handle it?
What about a driver's license, sir? Your son have one?
Well, no, I didn't have a chance to get him one. Too busy to take him down there for the test. It's a stupid thing anyway. Any moron can pass it. The point is, you didn't have to chase him. He wasn't hurting anybody, was he? I taught him how to drive. He drives just like I do. He's a fast driver, but he's a good one. I ought to know.
Our radio cars had to chase your boy 19 miles, Mr. Wheeler. 11 cars chased him. Your boy was endangering the life of everybody on that highway. In a 25-mile-an-hour zone, he was clocked at better than 70 miles an hour. At one time, we figure he must have been doing better than 90. He went through a dozen boulevard stops. He barely missed a woman pedestrian. The woman had a baby in her arms. Just before he cracked up, he sideswiped another car, an old couple in it. They're in this hospital, too, and they're hurt bad. Now, you go ahead inside and make those two old people believe your son's a good driver, that he's just having some innocent fun, will you?
It's not all his fault. He probably wouldn't have done it if you didn't chase him. I know my boy can handle a car. I've raced cops myself once in a while. Charlie was with me. He's cool. He knows what he's doing behind the wheel. Just because you drive fast doesn't make you a bad driver.
It helps.
Frank? Yeah, Doc. You spare a minute?
Sure. What is it?
This is Mr. Wheeler, father of the boy who was driving the car. This is Dr. Hall.
Where's Charlie? I want to see him.
I'm sorry, sir. You'll have to wait a few minutes. He's lost a lot of blood. They're getting him another transfusion.
What's the matter with him? How bad is he hurt?
There's a report. Read it yourself.
What kind of treatment you giving him? You sure you know what you're doing?
I think so. I've been on this job for 11 years. That's how long I've been dealing with fools like you.
What?
I heard you ranting and raving out here at these offices. Well, let me tell you this, mister. All three of you were wrong. That boy of yours lying in there isn't to blame. You are, his own father. You were driving that car tonight. I heard you ranting out here. You taught him how to drive. He can drive as well as you can. He's cool. He knows how to handle a car. You taught him how to race cops. Well, the results are inside, Mr. Wheeler.
Look here, I don't want any sermons from you. I want to see my boy. I want to see him right now.
You're not going to get any sermons from me. They wouldn't help you. But I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. I've seen your kind for years. I've sewed them up, I've patched them up, and I've pulled a sheet over their face. So far, you're lucky it hasn't happened to you. You're on borrowed time. Must be true what they say. The good Lord takes care of the fools and the drunks. Well, I can tell you now I wouldn't feel half as bad if it was you inside there on that bed instead of your son. Oh, when are people like you going to learn? When are you going to learn?
I came down here to see my son. You're not impressing me a bit.
Well, then maybe you ought to come down here some weekend, some holiday. Maybe that'd impress you. You stand inside that treatment room with me and watch them come over that table. A lot of them come in married and go out widowed, all kinds, all ages. They pull them out of the wrecks and they drag them in here and they expect miracles from us. They're battered and broken, and some of them you have to look twice because it's hard to tell they're human beings. You know who's responsible, Mr. Wheeler? You know who? Arrogant, egotistical, good, fast drivers like you. Well, I'm sick of you, Mr. Wheeler. I'm sick of the whole rotten, stupid mess. I'm sick of fools like you.
Dr. Hall?
Yeah.
See you a moment, please.
Yeah, all right.
Sure makes himself out an expert, doesn't he? He preach to everybody who comes in here?
No, matter of fact, he's usually pretty quiet.
Well, what's the matter with him? Get on the wrong side of bed?
Maybe this will explain it. He's got a 16-year-old boy of his own.
Well, what's he beefing about? It's my kid that's hurt, not his.
Every kid he treats is his.
Mr. Wheeler.
Is it all right? Can I see Charlie now?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm sorry about everything, Doctor. I really am. I'm sorry.
So am I, Mr. Wheeler. The boy's dead.
When George Wheeler recovered from the initial shock of his son's death, we told him it was necessary that the body be removed to the county morgue where an autopsy would be performed the following day. After that, his son's remains would be available to a mortuary of the family's choosing. Frank and I drove back to the office where we filed a 311 dead body report on 16-year-old Charles Wheeler. After that, we called the coroner's office and notified them to pick up the body at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. 10:35 p.m. We left the traffic division garage and went back on the air. We were cruising the central area. 10:53 p.m. We got the call. Aliso and Spring, ambulance follow-up, victim of a hit-and-run driver. We were within a block of the call.
Must be it up ahead, Joe, on the corner?
Oh, yeah. You can pull up any place right here, I guess. All right, come on. Slide out my side, huh?
Yeah. Let us through, please. Police officers, excuse me.
Pardon me. I wonder if I can get through here, please. Excuse us.
Doctor? You fellas doctors?
No, we're police officers.
Oh, yeah, I see. Where's the ambulance? Be here in a minute. How'd it happen? The old man was trying to cross the street. A bus hit him. Oh, look at him. Terrible, poor old guy. You work around here? Yeah, I sell papers right over in that corner over there. My name's Harry Johansson. You want me for a witness?
Frank, get his name and address, will you? I'll check the old man. Yeah, right. All right, now don't move around, Dad. Don't try to get up. The ambulance will be here in a minute.
I'm hurt. Bad. Terrible pain in my back.
Your legs hurt you, Dad?
No. I don't feel a thing in my legs. It's just my back. I got a terrible pain.
What's your name?
Clyde Logan.
Where do you live, Dad?
Over there, just up in the corner. Apartment 37. Hey, could you go over and see Lona, see if she's all right? She's going to be awful worried.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. You been drinking, Dad?
Well, just a nightcap. The doctor said I ought to have a glass of port every night. I was just on my way home when it happened. Oh, my back.
You sure it was just a glass of port, Dad?
Yeah, that's right. I never touch anything but that glass of port before I go to bed. So would you please send somebody to see about Lil, apartment 37? She's going to be awful worried.
Yes, sir. We'll take care of it.
Oh, this feels terrible. I got to get up. Help me up, will you, officer?
All right. You sure you feel up to it, Dad?
I don't know. It's an awful pain in my back. I know I'm not supposed to move till the ambulance gets here, but maybe it'll go away if I stand up.
All right, sir. Here you go. Frank, See you in a minute.
Yeah.
Cancel the ambulance, will you? We don't need it. Cancel it. Call the wagon.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to get help, Sergeant. Are they coming for me?
Yeah, you're going to get help, Dad. It's on the way.
I come to the corner here and I started to cross over. And what do you think? Right out of nowhere, this big red bus come up the street. It must have been going 60. Hit me and kept right on going. I thought for a minute there I was gone for sure.
Did you say it was a big red bus?
It's red or blue. What's the difference? They're running it down. Oh, look at that. You get the ambulance quick. Look at that.
What's that?
My shirt front here. Look, it's all red. It's blood. Get some help. I'm bleeding to death. Get some help. Oh, there's a sharp pain in my ribs.
Well, let's take your coat off here. That's
better. The pain's gone now.
Yeah, well, I don't know what your blood type is, Dad, but you're bleeding port wine.
Oh, no.
Worse than you thought it was, Dad. You broke your bottle of port.
It's all wrapped up in papers, too. It's a wonder how it happened. Just look at my brand new shirt, all that good wine.
Joe? No, I canceled the ambulance, called communications for the wagon. What's the story?
Say, would you please send somebody up to my place to see Leona? It's apartment 37, building right up in the corner. Please look after Leona.
Yeah, we'll tell her, Dad.
Oh, say, when you see her, would you please give her this?
What's this?
Piece of liver. Leona just loves liver.
I didn't know you were married, Clyde. When did that happen?
I'm not married.
Well, then who's Leona?
That's my cat, the best friend I got in the world. Say, where's the ambulance?
No, there's not going to be any ambulance, Dad. We got a car coming instead.
Listen, I'm a sick man, Sergeant. I need an ambulance.
You're a hit-and-run victim every time you get enough port wine, Dad.
I don't know what you mean. It's a glass of port every night. That's all I ever take.
What time do you think it is now?
Time? I don't know. I went over to Jack. It's about 8 o'clock. Must be 8:15, 8:30. Why?
It's 10 minutes past 11, Dad. You're overdue.
I get it, Joe. What's the pitch?
Don't you know him?
No, I don't think so.
Clyde Logan. Got an arrest sheet as long as your arm. Somebody down at Central tagged him with the name Hit and Run Logan. He's a town character.
Well, what's the idea of the hit and run story?
Oh, he likes attention. Every time he gets loaded, he likes to ride in an ambulance with a siren wide open, so he lays down on the street, pretends he's been hit.
I see.
Every city's got at least one of them, I guess. Some of them turn in fire alarms. Some of them confess to murder. Some of them just beat their wives. Clyde likes to be a hit-and-run victim.
See, what are you going to do? You're going to lock me up?
No choice, Dad.
I suppose not. Say, would you talk to the jailer and see if I could get my old job back? I mean, you know, anything in the kitchen. I like to work in the kitchen.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk to him.
And now, just one more thing.
Yeah?
Would you go see Jackie Martin for me? Place right up the street there. You know, you see the sign there?
Yeah,
Jackie's Old Time Wine Shop. That's the place. Well, you go in there and you ask for Jackie. You tell him that I sent you. See, you can say that he's not going to get any more of my business. You tell him I won't even pay him what I owe him.
Well, what's the matter, Dad? Why are you mad at him?
Well, I got good enough reason. All the trade that I've given him and all the money I spent there and double-crossed her. He can't keep customers that way, and he'll find that out.
What do you mean, Dad?
Well, look, right here on the sidewalk.
Yeah?
Jackie Martin, him and his cheap bottles.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day. Yes, more smokers coast to coast are finding that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, here's the practical way to prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, more and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas.
Compare them yourself. King-size Fatima, extra mild and soothing, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Thursday, July 3rd, 11:30 p.m. There was still half an hour to go before the July 4th weekend even started. But in the last 7.5 hours, Central Traffic had answered 13 major accident calls. 4 of them were fatalities. If it was any indication of the next 72 hours, the 4th of July weekend was due to spell death and tragedy for more people than we figured. 12:10 a.m., we received another ambulance follow-up call, this time at 11th and Georgia. A young couple on a motorcycle trying to beat the stop signal had crashed headlong into the side of an eastbound bus. One was taken to the hospital, one was taken to the county morgue. 12:20 a.m. After taking care of the necessary reports, we impounded the motorcycle. The next half hour was fairly quiet. 12:55 a.m., we went off the air and stopped to have a cup of coffee. 1:15 a.m., we called back in service. We continued cruising the central area. At 1:48 a.m., 12 minutes before quitting time, we got a call for Wilshire and Toberman Street, an ambulance follow-up, city property damage, motor officer. 1:15 a.m., we arrived at the scene. Approximately 20 feet from the southwest corner, a police motorcycle was sprawled on the street. The front of it was demolished. About 30 feet from the motorcycle, lying face down on the street, was the figure of a man in a police uniform.
All right, would you step back, please? Up on the...
Please, everybody, back up there on the sidewalk, please.
Help me. Please.
All right, don't try to move, fella.
It's Brian.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. Mike?
Tried to miss it. Couldn't help it.
Take it easy now. Don't try to talk.
Ambulance is on the way, Mike.
Don't kid me, Joe. My chest hurts. Hey, unbutton my collar. Can't breathe.
Yeah, all right, sure, Mike. Come on, take it easy now. Don't move.
Chasing this car. Cream convertible. Man, woman. I think he was 502. Big chase. Red light. Sorry.
All right, now take it easy, Mike. Relax.
Other car turned right in front of me. I saw it. Nothing I could do. Couldn't stop. Turned right in front of me. Evelyn. Gonna go see her. Evelyn. She's waiting.
All right, will you take it easy, Mike? Don't talk and don't move. This will work out all right. Take it easy.
Joe. Evelyn. Joe.
Mike.
Joe, got a coat here. Slip it under his head. It'll be more comfortable.
No, he doesn't need it, Frank. He's comfortable. 1:57 a.m. The ambulance arrived and O'Brien's body was removed to the county morgue. Photographs were taken, diagrams were drawn, and statements taken from the witnesses. A truck from Central Garage arrived and started removing the dead officer's motorcycle. Frank and I went over and started interviewing the driver of the car which O'Brien had collided with. She identified herself as Corrine Norton, a bookkeeper at a South Los Angeles defense plant.
I was making a left turn, that's all. Next thing I knew, he hit my car. You can see what he did to it. Who's going to pay for the damage?
We can talk about that later, Miss Norton. Our first concern is we'd like to find out what happened.
Well, there's nothing to it. I already told you. This cop ran into me. There wasn't anything I could do.
Well, would you start from the beginning, please, and tell us exactly what happened?
From the beginning of what? I told you. You ran into my car. What more do you want to know? Sorry it happened, but I couldn't help it. Look at my car. How am I going to get to work in the morning?
Will you please tell us what happened here, miss? Just as near as you can remember.
Well, I was going down this way on Wilshire on my way home. I started to make a left turn onto Toberman, and this cop on the motorcycle drove right into me. Wasn't anything I could do. His fault. I couldn't help it.
Could we see your operator's license, please?
Certainly. Let's see it. There's someplace. Yeah, here it is.
All right, do you want to read it out, Frank?
Yeah. California operator's license number B208-927.
Okay, got it.
Corrine, C-O-R-I-N-N-E-M, Norton. 10,033 Ruth Ellen, Los Angeles.
10,033.
Right. Female, 5'3.5", 123 pounds. Born February 18th, 1909. Blue eyes, brown hair. Must wear adequate glasses.
Just a minute. Okay.
You have your glasses with you, Miss Norton?
Well, yes, right here in my purse. I really don't have to wear them. I can see just as well without them.
Were you wearing your glasses at the time of the accident?
Yes, I was. I took them off right after the accident. Here they are, right here in my purse. See?
Miss Norton, we understand the motorcycle officer had his red light and siren in operation at the time of this accident. Did you see it or hear it?
No, I didn't hear any siren, and I certainly didn't see any red light.
Then when's the first time you saw the officer, ma'am?
When he hit me. Seemed to come out of nowhere. He was going very fast.
You say you were in the process of making a left turn. Is that right, Miss Norton? Did you give a hand signal indicating that you were going to turn?
Of course I did. I always do.
You touched your car since the accident.
What do you mean if I touched it?
Was your car just like it was when you were driving it prior to the accident?
Yes, I suppose it is. I mean, with the exception of the damage he did.
You sure you gave a hand signal, Miss Norton?
Of course I am. What's this all about, anyway?
Well, if your car's exactly the way it was before the accident, and you're telling us the truth here, how do you account for the fact that the left-hand window of your car is still rolled up here?
What?
The window of the driver's side of your car there, it's closed tight. You couldn't have made a left-hand signal, now could you?
What? I don't understand it. I'm sure I made a signal. I think so, anyway. Are you trying to say I'm to blame for that cop's
We're
death?
not trying to say anything, ma'am. We're trying to get the facts here.
Well, you certainly have a funny way of doing it. What do you call facts, anyway? Trying to incriminate me in this thing? I was making a left turn and he ran into me. It's as simple as that. I don't know what you're so excited about.
The man just died, Miss Norton. We're trying to find out why.
Well, why ask me? I didn't kill him. Speeding along on a motorcycle like that. He shouldn't have been going that fast anyway.
That's his job, ma'am. That's what they pay him for. He was chasing a drunk driver.
All right, that's his job. He knew it was dangerous when he took it.
Yes, ma'am.
Part of his job, that's what we pay him for.
Well, he's dead, Miss Norton. Who's going to pay him for that? 2:15 a.m. A traffic car took Corrine Norton downtown to the station where her statement was to be taken and a further investigation made. Frank and I contacted Sergeant Joe Whitehead of the medical detail and informed him of Mike O'Brien's death. He told us he'd notify the business office and the parents of the dead officer. Because of our close association with O'Brien, we happen to know that he planned to get married July 15th, the first day of his vacation. The girl he was going to marry was an Evelyn Monroe. She lived in the Silver Lake district. We told Whitehead that we'd notify her. 2:30 p.m. Frank and I drove out Sunset Boulevard to the girl's house.
Oh, hi, Frank. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Mike with you?
Well, no, he isn't, Evelyn.
Well, come on in. Have some coffee. I'm just waiting for Mike.
All right, thank you.
Guess Mike's a little late tonight. Come on in. How do you like your coffee? Cream and sugar?
Black will be all right, thanks. Both of us.
Look at the dining room table. Pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's very nice.
Nicest wedding present I think I've ever seen. Didn't know we had so many friends. You see what the boys in the motor squad sent us? Electric mixer, all the attachments, too.
Yeah, we see him. Very nice.
What's the matter, Joe? Hard day?
Yeah, it was. It was a tough one.
Oh, you're just like Mike. When he gets off work, he's grumpy as a bear. I don't know why. Nothing tough about your job. You ought to work for the man I work for. Coffee's coming right up.
Joe,
Yeah,
you're going to have to tell her I can't. Do me a favor.
yeah, I'll try.
Here you are. I think you ought to like these donuts. I get them at the bakery down the street. Mike's crazy about them.
Would you sit down, Evelyn, please? I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, sure, Joe. You sound serious. What's the matter?
It's about Mike, Evelyn.
Mike, what about him?
He wanted us to come by and see you. He was hurt tonight.
Oh, no. Was it bad?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
What happened? Where is he? Can I see him?
No, not now. A little later.
What happened? They told his mother and dad?
Yeah, Evelyn, Joe Whitehead's out there now.
Joe Whitehead, medical detail?
Yeah, that's right.
He usually doesn't go out right away unless they're dead. Joe? Joe, tell me the truth. What's happened to Mike? What's happened?
Well, he's dead, Evelyn.
No. It isn't the truth. He can't be dead.
He was chasing a drunk driver over on Wilshire. A woman turned in front of him. Couldn't get out of the way. Didn't have a chance to lay his bike down. Sorry.
It's not true. Can't be it's not true. He called me at 11. He'll be here at any minute. He'll be here any minute. Mike. Mike.
Oh, Evelyn, please. There's nothing you can do. Nothing anyone can do. Crying would help. I'd cry with you.
But it's not right. It isn't right. Why should he die? Why should he?
I'm sorry. Went fast. He didn't suffer. Talked about you. The last thing was about you.
Hard to realize. I can't understand it. I can't. There's no reason for it.
No reason for a lot of it.
Why, Joe? Why did he have to die? Why did he?
Oh, I don't know. I got an idea, maybe, Evelyn.
Why?
Somebody forgot to put out their arm.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 2nd, an inquest was held at the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. The coroner's jury returned a verdict of excusable homicide in the death of motorcycle officer Michael O'Brien. In a moment, a word about another trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I know a lot of you listeners have taken my advice and switched to Fatima's. Now, if you haven't, How about comparing Fatima this weekend for sure? You see, Fatima quality stands out by comparison. And that's why I ask you to try Fatimas. Compare them with the king-size cigarette you've been smoking. You'll find Fatimas give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, king-size Fatimas in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Normally at this time, we give you the result or outcome of legal proceedings against a person or persons for criminal action. You've already heard the results of the documentary cases portrayed on Dragnet tonight. 4th of July weekend is at hand. 40 million automobiles will drive 5 billion miles. Please make every mile a safe mile. Be considerate of the other driver on the road and have a happy weekend. We don't want to read your name on Dragnet's trial page. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Stacey Harris, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Yes, adventure is yours tonight with Counter Spy on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, International Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story of The Lady Who Wanted to Live.
Trouble comes cheap in this town. There's one item that's always on the market. You don't even have to go shopping for it. Somebody knocks on your door or dials your number, and you've got all you can handle. I found that out when I met Amy Goodrich, a long, low blonde with lots of speed. One look at her, and you knew you'd been friends too long. We met last Friday afternoon. I'd been out of town 2 days looking for a guy who turned up in jail in Reno. I was home counting the lumps in my mattress, trying to catch up on some sleep, when the phone began jumping around on the hook. I thought it might be somebody with Rose Bowl tickets. I was wrong. It was the Lion. Hello?
Regan, is that you?
What do you want?
Oh, it's a beautiful afternoon. The sun's shining. There's a tang in the air. How'd you like to take a nice drive out to the beach?
The season's over.
Oh, but this is a new season. Fall, Regan. Light suntan, wild ocean. Doesn't it excite you?
I haven't had any sleep in 2 days.
I know. And I hate myself for disturbing you. I just hate myself.
Get to the point, Fatso.
Well, something very important's come up, Jeffrey. I wouldn't trust anybody but you to handle it. Besides, the sea air will do you good. Give you a lift.
This isn't Berlin. Say something.
Well, I want you to call on our new client. She's a nightclub singer. Has a beach cottage at Santa Monica, 18106 Coast Road. Her name's Amy Goodrich. You still there, Jeffrey?
Still here.
Up, my boy, to the colors, on the firing line.
Drop dead.
Oh, now that's not being a good soldier. Why, if I didn't know you,
I hung up, stuck my head under the pillow again, and waited for him to call back. He didn't. He was playing it coy. Well, I tossed around for another half hour. The mattress got worse, and then a fly started buzzing against the window shade. About that time, the blonde next door decided to leave her husband, and it got real noisy. So I rolled out of bed, threw on some clothes, and climbed in my car. I drove over to Sunset Boulevard and headed for Santa Monica. 18106 Coast Road turned out to be a bundle of flagstone and glass brick piled up against the ocean. Had a lot of angles. like a shyster lawyer. Figure whoever built it never heard of the FHA. Front door was open. Inside, a skinny little guy with a complexion like dried codfish was catching up on his music appreciation. His eyes swung around when I walked in. It looked like they'd been hurting him all his life. He turned the record player down, but those elevator shoes brought him up to my chin.
I'm listening to music. Whatever you're selling, we don't want any.
How do you know?
We never want anything. So long.
Amy around?
Who are you?
My name's Regan.
What do you want?
You her?
She's around. All right, she's out back on the patio, taking a sunbath. You didn't tell me what you want with her.
I don't. She wants me. Okay?
Okay, sure, okay. Why should you be any different?
Traffic problem, huh?
We need stoplights. Go right on through the dining room.
Just in case I want to write this up, who are you?
Felix. Felix Beethoven. Well?
I didn't say anything. When I saw her on the patio by the beach, I knew why Felix was hurting. Amy Goodrich was the kind of blonde they put on those resort hotel calendars in Las Vegas. No matter what month it was, she'd always start you looking around for spring. There wasn't enough material in her sunsuit to make a good pen wiper. And when she smiled at me, I began to feel warm inside, like a radio with a broken coil.
I know it's warm for this time of year, but you aren't wearing a sheepskin.
It wouldn't fit in this crowd.
You're from Mr. Lyon, aren't you?
How'd you know?
Well, he said he was sending me his best man. So, Mr. Regan, come over here and sit by me.
Sure, I won't crowd you.
Mm-mm.
Your party, lady.
I always drink scotch. How about you?
Maybe. Later.
Well, so you're the lion's eye, Very nice.
Depends on how you look at it. I had to crawl out of bed to come over here.
Oh? You haven't been sick, I hope.
Well, when you work for the line, you just don't get much sleep.
Oh, I see. I thought you looked nice and strong.
I'll tell my tailor.
And quick, too. Look, you can relax, Regan. This job is going to be easy.
What is the job?
Protecting me.
If you're going to wear that all the time, I'd better send for reinforcements.
I think you'll be able to handle it. You'll do just fine.
If I know who I'm protecting you from.
Yes, I suppose you do have to know that. Have you ever heard of Tim Conover, Mr. Regan?
Yeah. He runs an upholstered cigar box downtown. Diamond Club.
He plays for keeps.
I've heard.
And apparently I interest him.
It figures.
I worked for him 2 years ago singing. He became very interested in me, but I turned him down.
Conover wouldn't like that.
He doesn't. He has another girlfriend now, a Helen Lesser. I thought she'd take his mind off me, but she hasn't.
You still sore?
He's been around 6 times this past week, casing the place. I think he's got some nasty ideas.
Like?
I don't know. But he might not be very gentle.
So, I hang around until he shows up, huh?
Mm-hmm. You protect me, Mr. Regan. I want you to stay real close to me.
I, could go to the Diamond Club, talk to him.
You could, but he doesn't impress easily. And, I'd still want you around.
I see. You don't want me to talk to him?
There'll be time for that later. But right now, let's you and I get acquainted.
Your boyfriend isn't going to like that.
Felix? He's only my arranger. He writes better if he's jealous.
He must turn out a couple of operas a day. He's got a bad ticker, hasn't he?
He's got a bad heart. But let's talk about us.
Conover, remember?
Oh, Regan, don't go. I hate to be alone.
I'll be back.
Why'd you stay for dinner? I'll send Felix out to a double feature or something.
I'm hired. I have to see Conover.
All right. Kiss me goodbye.
No thanks, lady. I gotta drive. But it figured Amy never read the vehicle code. I didn't mind when her arms went around me, but I could feel something else on the back of my neck. Eyes. Somewhere in that house, Felix was watching. I knew he wouldn't like the kind of music we were making.
Hurry back, baby.
I could still feel him watching when I broke away and walked back through the house. He wasn't in the dining room, so I went through the archway to the living room. I didn't find him, but he found me. So a guy with a bad cigarette was fast at his feet. He had a letter opener in his hand, but I didn't see the afternoon mail. I grabbed for him and he slid away. Then he came around again. This time I got my hand around his wrist. Drop it, Buster. Drop it. Take it easy. You got small bones. You're not built for rough work.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone, Regan. You leave her alone.
Felix got his idea across all right, but he had a one-track mind. I tried some questions, but got no answers. I figured Conover might do better, so I got in my car and drove back into town. It was just getting dark when I parked in Figueroa near Olympic, in front of the Diamond Club. Things were slow when I walked in. Too early for the jingle you spin crowd. When I asked for Conover, the bartender blinked a couple of wet stones at me.
In back, bud.
Jerked his head toward the rear. I got as far as the shuffleboard table when a brunette eased out of the shadows. She wasn't wearing a coat, and it figured she was there to stay.
May I help you?
I'm looking for Tim Conover.
I'm expecting him. Come on in. Sit down, Mr.
Regan.
Oh, so you're Jeff Regan.
Ring a bell?
I've heard the name before. It fits you. You're a private investigator. Yes, of course. Tim's not in any trouble, is he?
Not yet.
What do you mean?
Maybe I better talk to him about it. Huh?
Well, if it's that important, I better find him. Make yourself at home, Mr. Regan. If you like scotch...
Thanks. I helped myself to that, waited around for about 10 minutes. The phone rang once, and I let it go. A guy in a blue suit stuck his head in the door, said something about getting the wrong room, and backed out. I was just catching up on my music when the door opened. Through the mirror, I saw Conover. A gray suit with a bulge in the front of his coat.
There he is, Tim.
Thanks, Miss. I didn't know you played, Regan.
Hello, Conover.
I was having dinner. Helen tells me you've got something on your mind.
That's right. Do I unload it now? In front of her?
Well, why not? She's my baby.
This is about another baby of yours. Do I go on?
It's your show, Regan.
Amy Goodrich wants you to know she's got protection.
Oh? Well, all right, Regan. You did your job. You told me Amy's got protection. See you somewhere.
She wants to be left alone.
All right, she wants to be left alone. Anybody bothering her?
You are, according to her.
This guy's working in a weed field, Angel. I got over her a long time ago. I haven't seen her in 2 years.
I believe you, Tim.
All right, Regan. She believes me. This is where you get off.
Amy says she's seen you hanging around her place lately. Makes her nervous.
Wrong guy, Regan. You made a big mistake.
Sure. So did the guy who picked Michigan.
Look, I don't know what your pitch is, or Amy's, but I'm not buying any.
You may change your mind.
You know, you've been in business too long, taking too many rabbit punches. You ought to start taking care of yourself.
You ring, boss?
Yeah. Get rid of this bum.
They were a real pretty pair of muscles. One of them had a nose that looked like he'd been dipping it in an ink bottle all his life. The other one had an ear that could have passed for a golf ball. Well, they walked me out a door that opened onto an alley in back of the club. That's when the one with all the nose frisked me.
Hey, just in case, pal. Just in case.
Get your hands off me, punk.
Easy. We're just...
Gussie says take it easy.
Hey, look. State of California. Gun and all. This guy's a gumboots. Max.
What?
I don't like no gumboots. Gumboots worse than a bum.
You hear that, gumboots? Gussie says a gumboots is worse than a bum. You don't talk.
Gumboots, how tough are you? Still don't talk.
Hey, Gussie asked you, how tough you are, huh? Are you tough? Tough? Not so tough.
My turn. Hold him.
All right.
Now, gumboots, here's what we get on answer.
Very nice, Gussie.
Thank you. Come on, Maxie. We'll be late for dinner.
Yeah, what about him?
Ain't you hurt? He don't feel like eating tonight.
I don't know how long I was away, but when I came back, I felt like I'd been sleeping on the wrong side of the world. I was still in that alley, and it was still dark. My head was rattling like it was full of broken glass. The yellow cat with an inferiority complex was sitting there looking at me. All over once, he started running.
Regan.
I didn't try to catch him.
Regan! Regan!
Oh.
Can you hear me? Wake up!
Yeah.
Have you been drinking?
Oh, shut up.
I send you out on a simple little job. I put all my faith and trust in you, and what do? Wind up in an alley drunk.
Get out of here.
Nuzzled up to a garbage pail, bleary-eyed, with melon seeds in your hair.
Stop
How
blowing
can you...
steam, Fatso. You're not a locomotive.
Oh, now, don't get so excited. You're getting seeds all over.
Give me a hand, will you?
Here.
How'd you get here?
Amy Goodrich called. She was getting worried about you. Said you went over to see Conover. She wanted me to stop you.
I figured you would, but she's too late. A couple of his boys played beanbag with my skull.
Well, who does Conover think he is, anyway, pushing my boy around? Just who does he think?
There's the door. Go in and ask him.
Well, now, I couldn't do that. Well, tell me, what's this all about?
That's what you're going to tell me.
But I don't know anything.
Amy Goodrich must have told you something when she hired me. If you're holding out on me...
But I'm not, Jeff.
Well, then start checking. Find out about Conover.
Conover? What do you want to know about him?
Everything. Find out, for example, if there's anything Amy Goodrich could be blackmailing him with.
Blackmail? Regan, what is going on?
I told you I don't know.
Well, then make a guess.
Okay. It looks like everyone's in love with Amy. I left the lion standing there. He looked worried, like an elephant with a skin rash. None of it made sense. I knew I'd have to get some answers before long. I drove over to my place and straightened myself out with a shower and some Johnny Walker. A half hour later, I was back out in Santa Monica. The fog was closing in over the house when I rang the bell. Nobody answered. But somewhere in the back, there was a light, so I walked around in the sand. The patio was empty. Inside, Amy was sitting on a zebra-striped couch. She was wearing a white strapless thing with a splash of red in one shoulder. She had a movie magazine in one hand and a drink in the other. But she wasn't having a very good time. She was dead.
This is CBS, and you are listening to The Story of the Lady Who Wanted to Live. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, the lion wasn't going to like it. His client, Amy Goodrich, was dead, and she wasn't in the market for protection anymore. I looked around for a gun, but didn't find it. Then I picked up the phone and put in a call to homicide. But I never talked to them. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Felix standing out on the patio. And he saw me. I hit the floor and pulled her ass with me. Even after the gun was empty, he stood there pulling the trigger. Then he threw it down and began running toward the ocean. I went after him.
Hold still. Hold still. Now let me go.
You'll drown.
I don't care. I loved her, Regan. I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I killed her. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Sure it does. But you're not going to tell yourself.
Oh, the police.
What about him?
I phoned them. I told them everything.
When?
Just before you came.
Come on.
But they'll be here. Let's go.
Yeah, that's why I said come on. I dragged him out of the surf and got him into my car. He kept mumbling all the way into town. It was 2 minutes after 10 when we got to my apartment. 3 phone calls turned up the lion in a Turkish bath. He kicked, but when I told him what happened, he said he'd come right away. 20 minutes later, he walked in. He still had a towel wrapped around his head. He looked like Sitting Bull in an Easter bonnet.
Where is he, Regan? Where is he?
In there, asleep.
Asleep?
Just like that, he can drop off to sleep after what he's done?
I gave him some pills.
What about homicide?
He already called him.
But they'll be looking for him down at the beach. We've got to stay clean, Regan. I'm going to phone homicide.
Pick up that phone and I'll ram it so far down your throat you'll get a busy signal out of your hip pocket.
This is murder. What's gotten into you?
You're not going to toss Felix to the wolves.
Regan, you'll find the girl dead. Felix has the gun. He admits killing her. What are you saving him for? What are you going to do with him? Stuff him and put him on your mantle?
He's a fall guy, a patsy. He didn't do it.
He didn't kill her?
He was carrying this gun. He took 6 shots at me tonight. That's all it holds. There's 1 bullet in her, and he didn't have any extra slugs. Now, what did you find out about Tim Conover?
Oh, he's clean, Regan. Absolutely clean. Unless you want to count a court-martial. He celebrated V.E. Day by poking a major in the chops.
What else?
He kicked him, too.
All right.
Hey, where you going?
Out. Look, you stay here and keep Felix company.
Oh, of course, Regan. I'll do that. Run along. You needn't worry. I'll watch over Felix like a father.
You'd better.
But the cops will be here. It won't take them more than an hour or 2 to find him.
Yeah, and I've got just that long to find out who really killed Amy Goodrich.
All right. I suppose I'll have to go along. After all, we're working hand in hand in this thing.
In that case, I'll hide my ring. I didn't like the idea of leaving the lion there with Felix, but there was nothing else I could do. Besides, I still had to do business with a guy named Conover. I was just getting into my car when I felt a gun in my back. And right away, I knew Conover had business with me.
All right, Regan. We got things to talk over. Now just keep walking straight ahead. The black sedan. Now, Regan, you sit in front with Helen. I'll take the back seat. Okay, Helen.
Where to, Tim?
Nowhere. Regan and me can do our talking right here. It's quiet.
Tim, are you sure you're doing right?
Please, let me handle this, baby. All right, Regan, what's the play? I know Amy's dead. Now, let's just take it from there.
Who told you?
I was there tonight.
Tim, you shouldn't. He'll involve you. He'll tell the police.
I said I'll handle this, baby.
So you were there. I know, don't tell me. She was already dead when you showed up.
No, not quite. All I got out of her was the name of some guy, Dolan, and something about Lake Tahoe. She seemed to think I know what it was about.
And you didn't?
No. Kind of figured you'd tell me.
All right. Blackmail.
Amy? Blackmailing me? You didn't know her very well, did you, Regan?
She said she needed protection. I think she wanted a strong-arm boy.
No, it doesn't fit. She was no good, but not blackmail. It doesn't fit at all.
Maybe I can make it fit.
Don't try. I'm not going to be tagged for this thing, Regan. You know some answers. Maybe you better start talking right now. I said start talking.
I didn't know if Conover was just looking for information or if he wanted to find out how much I knew about a guy named Dolan in Lake Tahoe. Well, I had a 50-50 chance. I could get the butt of that gun across my face, or I could try walking away and take a chance of getting a bullet in my back. And then I saw an old coupe, Oklahoma license, limping along the other side of the street. I opened the door, stepped out onto the sidewalk. I kept on going into the middle of the street. Conover yelled, but he didn't fire. And then the coupe slammed on the brakes.
What's the matter with you, Pilgrim? You want to get yourself bashed up standing out in the middle of the street? Want to get yourself all bashed up?
We ran out of gas.
Join an auto club. Pay your dues.
There's no phone. Could you give me a lift?
I wasn't going anyhow. Well, climb in. Do it at the bowling alley. Hey, what are them two going to do? Sit there and nick?
I didn't answer that. But when we pulled away, Conover was just sitting there staring. But there was nothing to stare at. Helen was different. She registered one look. Fear. 15 minutes later, the Oklahoma license dropped me off at Vermont and Franklin, where I got a cab. All the way downtown, I kept wondering about Conover's play. He could have stopped me, but he didn't. That could mean he hadn't shot Amy. It could also mean he had shot her, but he knew about Felix confessing over the phone to the police. At the Examiner morgue, I found Ned Fuller looking at a girly magazine. I told him what I wanted, and 10 minutes later, he spread out a file dated May 9th, 1945.
Is this it? Wealthy playboy shot to death. Willard J. Dolan, San Francisco socialite, found dead at Lake Tahoe cabin.
That's it.
Oh, well, they never did solve it. There's some stuff here about a mystery
I can
woman.
read.
They think she might have done it. Somebody seen her come out of the cabin that night. She's tall, blonde.
First name, Amy.
No, they never found out who she was.
Somebody did.
Oh, well, there was witnesses. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin James, San Diego people. They saw the dame come out. They couldn't give a good description of her.
Want to bet?
A bet? Sure, I'll take Notre Dame. Who do you think?
I'll take a guy named Tim Conover.
Regan.
Hello, Conover. You're staying up late tonight.
You work awfully hard for a buck soldier.
That's for what your boys did to me out in an alley.
I wonder what makes a guy walk into trouble 3 times in one day. You got a lot of nerve, Regan, but you use it in the wrong places.
I'm just getting started.
All right, make your play. What's next?
You talk.
What about...
Dolan, Willard J.
I told you.
Lake Tahoe, May 9th, 1945. Talk, Conover. All right, then I'll talk. A tall blonde named Amy Goodrich. An unsolved murder at Lake Tahoe. But there was a witness. When I first came over here, I guess she was blackmailing you. I was wrong. You were blackmailing her.
You stink, Regan. I told you wouldn't tag me for this.
Well, you're wrong.
No, he isn't, Mr. Regan.
Oh, so that's it.
Thanks, Helen. Give me the gun. I'll run things from now on. I don't know what you get out of this, Regan, but you got your engine switched.
Look, a mixed-up guy named Felix Beethoven actually thinks he killed Amy, and he didn't. I've got him on ice, but the cops will get him. And when they do, he's on his way to the gas chamber.
Oh, Tim, please, let's get out of here. Let's not listen.
Wait a minute, baby, wait. So I was blackmailing Amy. I had a good thing, but I shot her. And I was the mystery witness at Lake Tahoe. I thought you were a better gumshoe than that, Regan.
What does that mean?
The date was May 9th, 1945. You mean you haven't looked me up?
All of a sudden it hit me. Something the lion had said about V.E. Day and a major who got hit in the chops. And the whole thing came apart at the seams. Conover couldn't have been the witness. He was in a guardhouse in Germany. I began to feel helpless, like a glass blower with hiccups. For the first time in my life, I really wanted to talk to the lion. I looked at the gun in Conover's hand, then I reached for the phone and dialed. Slow. He didn't stop me. Lion, the cops.
Oh, Regan. They're not here yet.
Felix?
Still asleep.
Well, get him out of there.
Regan, I can't do that.
Get him out of there. We broke our pick.
What?
I've been working the wrong angle. We got to have more time.
But I can't get him out of here now. We'll be seen. You must have something.
I have. A guy named Willard Dolan was killed at Lake Tahoe. A Mr. and Mrs. Franklin James were the witnesses. But Conover isn't...
Regan.
Hold it. Yeah?
That name.
Mr. and Mrs. Franklin James?
Hang up.
Regan, what's going on?
Hang up.
Jeffrey, are you...
Helen's got something to tell you.
Oh, Tim, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead, baby. Tell him.
Tim.
Wait a minute. Mrs. Franklin James.
Yeah, Mrs. Franklin James.
All right. I was Mrs. Franklin James. I was a witness. I did blackmail Amy.
And you figured me to be the fall guy. You've hung around just so you could use me if the heat ever came on.
No, I swear to you, I love you. I never meant to get you involved. But I used a piece of your stationery once. Amy had a trace.
So she figured it was Conover all the time.
Yes. Oh, I went crazy trying to cover it up. Because I love you, Tim. I love you. I couldn't let anything happen to you.
No, but you set me up for a murder rap.
No, I wasn't. I was trying to protect you. Don't you see Amy was going to kill you, Tim?
She was going to kill me.
Yes. Oh, she wanted Regan Fore to set up that story about your threatening her. And then she could claim self-defense.
But it didn't work that way.
No. You came around. I couldn't let Tim find out. I couldn't let anybody find out.
You killed her, didn't you?
Yes, I killed her. For you, Tim. I killed her for you. We can get away, darling. Regan's the only one who knows.
Sure. And the kid with the bum ticker takes the rap. Except that somebody might ask questions about what happened to me.
We'll have to take that chance, Tim. Regan's the only one who can make trouble for us.
Us, baby?
What?
I don't have any troubles. You have.
Oh, Tim. You're joking. Listen to me.
You're wasting your time.
Tim. You won't help me?
No.
You won't help me?
No.
But if you let them arrest me, I'll die. They'll convict me. Oh, please, please, you have the gun, Tim. You can save me. I don't want to die. I love you. I want to live. I want to live. I don't want to die.
All right, Regan. You better get her out of here.
Tim!
Regan, I said get her out of here.
Well, that's the way it wound up. Helen went to headquarters. Tim went back to his club. I went out of town for a few days. When I got back, I drifted into the office. The Lion gave me the wind-up. A report on Felix.
Yes, Regan. Those doctors worked on Felix Beethoven 3 days. Psychiatric medicine's a profound study. Profound. They finally convinced him he didn't kill Amy.
Yeah.
That's sad. He loved that woman as cruel as she was to him. He loved her a great deal. I suppose life will be lonely for him now that she's gone.
You're wrong.
What do you mean?
I saw him in Hollywood today. He's got a new friend, one with red hair.
You mean to tell me he's willing to do it again? To accept abuse from another woman? Why, that man's a natural for any woman's dominance.
He hasn't got a thing to worry about.
But you said she was a redhead, and I know redheads.
Yeah, but Felix is bigger than this one. Besides, the new one's a Cocker Spaniel.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, was written by E. Jack Newman and Adrian Jandot, directed by Sterling Tracy. Frank Graham is starred as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A 25-year-old man is found hiding in a freight car in a deserted train yard. In his arms, he holds the body of a dead woman. The victim's identity is unknown. The suspect refuses to talk. Your job? Investigate. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 18th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 10:38 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide detail.
Joe?
Hi. Did cop out to anything yet?
Nothing. I keep asking him questions. Might as well be talking to myself. He might be in a state of shock.
No, I don't think so.
You got anything on him from R&I?
No, he's clean. You and Stahl want to get over to the morgue, roll the dead woman's prints?
Yeah, sure. Maybe you'll have better luck with it. See you later.
Yeah, sure. Here's your driver's license, Gordon. Better put it back in your wallet. Gordon, put it back in your wallet. Now, look, son, I don't think you're helping yourself much by keeping quiet. There's a lot of explaining to be done here. I'm afraid you're the only one who can do it. Gordon? All right, son, it's just a matter of time. You're going to have to tell somebody sooner or later. Why won't you tell us now? Come on, what do you say? Well, look, son, I'll tell you the truth. I don't get the reasoning behind all this We know there's nothing wrong with you. We know you can talk all right. You talked to the officers in the radio car who brought you in. You know as well as I do, you're going to have to explain what's happened here. You're going to have to explain that dead body. You want to get it over with now? Look, Gordon, if you didn't kill the woman, you haven't anything to worry about. And if you did, we're going to find out anyway. Who was the woman, Gordon? Will you tell me that much? What's her name? You know her very long? Did you know her very long? What was she to you? Do you want to tell me that? She's a fairly middle-aged woman in her early 50s, I'd say. Is that about right? Was she your mother, Gordon? Older sister, maybe? Any relation at all? What's the matter, son? You feeling sick? How about a cigarette? All right. Bother you if I smoke? I hope you haven't got the idea we're trying to trick you into anything, Gordon. We've got a dead woman on our hands here. We've got to find out why she's dead. Now, what do you say? No use looking up at the clock, son. We're stuck here till we find out about that woman. And that goes for both of us. Homicide, Friday. Oh, yeah, Jack. No, not right now. Ought to be back about half hour. Yeah, half hour. Right, I'll tell them to call. Thanks, bye. I got an idea, Gordon. Might want to set your mind at ease. Now, number one, if you think we're out to build a frame against you on this thing, let me tell you that you're wrong, and I'll prove it to you, son. I'm going to tell you exactly what we know about this case, everything. And when I'm finished, maybe you can fill in the blank spots for us, huh? What's the matter, your headache? Some aspirin in my locker there if you want some. No? All right. Here's all we know about it. Now, one of our radio cars, 1A4, answered a call from the night watchman down in the freight yards. He told the officers that he'd spotted a man wandering around down at the far end of the train yards near the west gate. Watchman only saw him at a distance, but he said he could make out the man and that he saw that he had a woman with him. She must have either been sick or she had too much to drink because the man appeared to be dragging her along with him. The two of them disappeared behind a line of boxcars on the siding. When the watchman went out to look for the two people, he couldn't find them. Called the radio car, and when the officers got there, they started searching. I finally found you hiding back in the corner of an empty boxcar there. You were holding that dead woman in your arms. There wasn't anything the officers could see that might have caused the woman's death. There were no marks on the body, nothing visible anyway. When they tried to question you, all that you'd tell them was your name and that you didn't want to live, that you didn't care what happened to you. Now, that's about the size of it, Gordon. Did I leave anything out? Gordon? Oh, yeah. There was something else. From what we could gather, the dead woman had been doing some drinking before she died. Matter of fact, looks like she was a pretty heavy drinker. And another thing, we know you and the woman got into the train yard down by the west gate. We know that you dragged her body across the freight yards to that empty boxcar that they found you hiding in. The heel marks from her shoes lead from the sidewalk through the dirt directly to the door of that boxcar. We could see where you dragged her body from the door back to the corner of the car. Now, that's the whole story so far, Gordon. You want to fill in the rest? Son, how about it? Who is the woman? All right, look, how about these items we found in your pocket, Gordon? This address book here. Is this a woman's name in here? Or this handkerchief with a lipstick on it? Were you out with another girl tonight? Were you, son? If you were, it might help to tell us who she is. Do you hear me, son? How about this lady's ring you had in your pocket? Name Elizabeth engraved on the inside. Does that tie in at all, Gordon? Who's it belong to? Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Friday. You get an ident on her? Mm-hmm. HOFFMAN. 2 N? Right. You going out there now? Okay, take O'Donnell with you, huh? Right, let me hear from her. What? No, not yet. No. All right, bye. That was my partner, Gordon, the officer who was in here with you. They took the dead woman's fingerprints. They've got her identified, son. It's Elizabeth Hoffman, age 52 years, music teacher. Last known address, 5473 6th Avenue. They're on their way out there now to check it. All right, relax, Gordon. That window doesn't lead anywhere. Now, you want to take another look at this ring? You got a fair idea that it means something, Gordon. They examined the dead woman's hands. They know she was wearing a ring recently. Her name's Elizabeth Hoffman. Name Elizabeth engraved inside this ring. Now, look, boy, we're going to get the answer sooner or later. How about it? What were you doing with this ring in your pocket? Now, let me tell you something, young fella. I don't know what's bothering you, but whatever it is, we're going to find it out. Now, get it through your head. You're in a bad spot. If you're not interested in helping yourself, then neither am I. The monkey's on your back. You're going to have to help scratch it off. Now, get with it. What's it all about? All right. Let's have your driver's license. Come on, get it out. All right, I'll take it. Gordon John Miller, 2055 Malcolm Avenue, Los Angeles. Hello, information? If you have a phone listing for 2055 Malcolm Avenue, thank you. Yes, ma'am. 32192. Thanks a lot.
Put the phone down.
You ready to tell us?
No, I won't tell you.
All right, any way you want it, Gordon.
You can't call them. They won't let you. You can't call them.
All right, take it easy.
They can't tell you. They don't know. Give me the phone.
All right,
You
sit
can't.
down. I said sit down. If you won't answer the questions, we'll find somebody who will. Give me your wrist. Now, sit still. Now, the sooner you get it through your head you're not here on a traffic ticket, the better. You're going to stay cuffed to that chair till we're ready to book you. I'm sick of treating you like a baby.
They can't tell you. They don't understand. They can't tell you.
They can't be any worse than you. Now, sit still there. Hello, is this the Miller residence? 2055 Malcolm Avenue? My name's Friday, ma'am. Police Department, Central Homicide. Who's this speaking, please? I see. Miss Miller, are you related to a Gordon Miller? Your brother? Uh-huh. No, he's not hurt. There's nothing wrong with him. Ma'am? Yes, he's here. We're holding him. Wonder if you'd be kind enough to come down here to the City Hall. It's the City Hall, yes, ma'am. It's important. We'd like to talk to you. No, as soon as possible. Yeah. You can get in through the Main Street entrance. Main Street, M-A-I-N. It's room 42 on the main floor. Just ask for Friday. That's my name. All right, thank you. Goodbye. It's your sister, Lillian. She's on her way down, Gordon.
It's not going to help. She doesn't know. None of them know.
Who's them? You mean your family?
You shouldn't have called. They don't know about it. They can't tell you. Why did you have to call?
You know why, Gordon. We gave you plenty of chance to tell us yourself. The answers have to come from somewhere.
What answers? What do you want me to say?
Homicide, Friday. What? How's that again? No, I'm afraid you have the wrong extension. You want vice detail. Just a minute. I'll have your call transferred. Yeah, would you give this call to 2607? Yeah, thank you.
I ask you. What do you want me to say? What do you want?
It's pretty simple, Gordon. Just tell us what happened tonight, will you?
She's dead, isn't she? Elizabeth?
Yes, that's right.
There's nothing else to say. I killed her.
Why did you kill her, son?
I'm not sure, really. I'm not. I think I felt sorry for her. I killed her, though. I know that much.
You murdered the woman, but you don't know why?
Yeah. I keep trying to remember. I can't. Doesn't seem real.
You've been drinking, Gordon?
Yeah. 2 or 3 days. We were going to have dinner tonight. We started drinking cocktails before. Quite a few. We never had dinner.
What do you mean by we?
2 of us. Elizabeth and I. Elizabeth Hoffman.
Where were you drinking?
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. I keep trying to remember.
No marks on the body, Gordon. None we could see anyway. How'd you kill her?
I killed her. That's enough, isn't it? I murdered her. Please don't talk anymore.
I'm sorry, son. That's not even half the story. You admit you killed the woman. You won't tell us why. You won't tell us how.
They wouldn't let her alone. They kept hounding her. They drove her out of her mind.
Come on, son. Snap out of it. That's not going to help any. All right, come on.
Yeah.
Now, what's it all about? What'd you have to do with it?
I've known her for 10 years. She was my music teacher. Piano
Brilliant woman. Elizabeth was a real artist.
You've been taking piano lessons from her for 10 years, is that right?
Yes, sir. Elizabeth was arranging a concert tour for me. South America this fall. She said she was sure I'd be a success. I couldn't fail. Concerts in 8 cities, all over South America. We were going this fall. We were going to leave in August.
Mm-hmm. That have anything to do with her death?
I guess so, in a way. She did everything for me, and I had to kill her. Only one who believed in me. I can't tell you. Last 2 years, I didn't have any money to pay for my lessons. She didn't care. She even fed me, took care of me when I was sick once. She did everything for me.
You know, this is pretty hard to understand, son. She did everything for you, then why did you kill her?
What makes you think that's important? She's dead and I killed her. You always ask why. It's not important how she died.
It is to us. Now, how'd you kill her, Gordon? Why'd you take her body down to the freight yards?
Should have known Elizabeth when she was alive. You never met a woman like her. Just wonderful. Talent, she was brilliant, understanding. Great woman, warm. No one like her, Sergeant. Great human being.
She drank quite a bit, didn't she, Gordon?
Yes. She drank. Reason for it, though. Reason that way with a lot of brilliant people. They drink once in a while.
She drank more than that, didn't she?
She had a reason for it. Who are you to sit in judgment on her? Elizabeth was a brilliant artist, great woman. Great. One of the finest musicians in the country, a great woman.
She was a drunk and a bad drunk. Now, let's face it, son. You know that as well as I do.
You're a liar. She wasn't. You're a rotten liar.
6 drunk arrests in 14 months. That's what her card reads in the record bureau. Those are the only times we know of. Now, how many can you add to it?
She drank. She thought it was the only way out for her. Wasn't any other way.
Yeah, well, you're talking in circles here, Gordon. Get it straightened out, will you?
You want to know why Elizabeth drank? Go ask my family. They'll tell you. They'll tell you a lot of things if you want to believe it.
What can they tell me that you can't?
Nothing. But they'll try and pretend they know. Liars. I don't want any part of them. And they don't want any part of me.
Don't you live with your family now, Gordon?
I haven't seen them for a year. I don't want to see them.
Why not? Don't you get along with them? Your father? Your mother?
My mother's dead. Died when I was 12. Just my father and my sister.
What's the matter? Don't you get along with them?
I just want them to let me alone, that's all. Just let me alone.
How about Elizabeth Hoffman? Your family know her pretty well?
Yeah, they know her. I didn't understand her, though. I really loved her. She loved me.
I don't think I follow you, son.
I knew you wouldn't understand. I was in love with Elizabeth. She was in love with me. We were going to get married.
You're 25 years old, Gordon. Is that right?
Yes.
Elizabeth Hoffman was 52. That's what our records show here.
What about it?
Well, 27 years difference. That's a little unusual, wouldn't you say?
What of it? Everything that's great is unusual. That's what makes it great. I loved her. Time didn't make any difference. A few years, what's that? I loved her more than any woman in the world. She meant everything. I didn't care if she drank. I didn't care if she was old. You don't stop being beautiful just because you grow old. Elizabeth was beautiful.
Well, the drinking didn't help her much.
I don't care about that. I'll still say it. She loved me and I loved her. Believe me, please, I loved her.
All right, I believe you, son. Let me ask you this.
Yes?
You say you respected her. She was talented. You were grateful to her. She was generous. She made sacrifices for you, did everything for you that she could. Is that right? She loved you and you loved her. You were going to marry her.
Yeah. This fall on the way to South America. Going to be married. What we always wanted. Elizabeth would have been so happy. So happy.
Yeah, well, then why did you kill her?
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
See you in a minute?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Something I think you ought to know.
Yeah.
John and I checked the boarding house the Hoffman woman was staying at. Checked her room. It's clean. Everything in order.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Miller had the room next to hers. Shook his place down, too.
Anything?
His bags were all packed. Looked like he was ready to go. Something else?
Yeah.
On the kitchen sink, bottle of poison.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, more and more smokers coast to coast are switching to Fatima's every day. Fatima, the extra mild and soothing king-size cigarette with the added protection of Fatima quality. Prove Fatima quality yourself today.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers now insist on king-size Fatima than ever before.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Switch to king-size Fatima today. Ask your dealer for the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Tuesday, January 18th, 11:55 p.m. My partner Frank Smith and I continued questioning the murder suspect, 25-year-old Gordon Miller. While he freely admitted to the murder of his music teacher and fiancée, 52-year-old Elizabeth Hoffman, we still were unable to get him to give us a good reason for the murder. Whenever we put the question to him, he either refused to answer or he was evasive. We got the same results when we questioned him about how he killed the Hoffman woman and where he killed her. 12:20 a.m. The interrogation went on.
But you ought to remember where you killed her, Gordon. You say the two of you left the rooming house, you stopped for some drink, then you went for a walk. Where'd you walk?
Down Arlington Avenue. We kept walking, then we turned off. We walked for a long time.
Were you anywhere near the freight yards when you killed her? Can you remember that?
No, I don't know. Like a nightmare. There's so much of it, I guess I don't want to remember.
And what's the last location you can recall, Gordon? I mean, before you found yourself in the freight yards.
Olympic Boulevard, I think. Someplace on Olympic. Kept walking and walking. I don't remember why.
You remember packing your suitcases before you left the boarding house?
Packing? Yeah, I think I do. Elizabeth and I talked about going away for a few days, someplace out of town. I think we're going to go tomorrow.
They checked both your rooms, Gordon, yours and Elizabeth Hoffman's. They found your bags packed, but there was nothing about her room that indicated she was going away. Everything was in order. Can you explain that?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't have time, hadn't gotten around to it. I guess you found the poison, too. Huh?
That's right.
I got it 2 days ago. We thought about it. We even wrote a letter explaining why we'd do it.
Yeah.
We didn't have the courage, though. Neither one of us. We talked about it and decided to forget it. I've told you everything. There isn't anything else to say.
Friday?
Yeah. Oh, all right, Jeff. Send her in, please. You're Lillian Miller, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
I don't want to see her. I don't want to see her.
She's your sister, Gordon. She wants to see you.
Please, keep her out. I'll keep her away.
Gordon?
My name's Friday, Miss Miller. Come on in, please. Have a chair, won't you?
Thank you. How are you, Gordon? Been such a long time. How have you been?
Chair, Miss Miller?
Thanks. Poor kid, what is it, Gordon? What's the trouble about? Honey, what is it? Won't you even look at me?
Get out of here. Let me alone. Get out.
Please, Gordon, don't. I'm here to help you, honey. They called me tonight. They said you're in trouble. What is it? Let me help you, please.
You can't help. She's dead. Now, will you go home? Elizabeth's dead. I killed her.
No. Merciful God, no.
Will you take her out of here, Sergeant? Tell her to go.
You don't know what you're saying, honey. He's not in his right mind, Sergeant. I know he isn't. Please, Gordon, you have to let us help you. I called Dad before I left. He's on his way here now. We'll get you a lawyer. Don't worry, honey. It'll be all right. Everything will be all right.
She's dead. Can you bring her back?
You couldn't have killed her, couldn't you?
Pounding her, torturing her. Why couldn't you let her alone? Why couldn't you let us alone?
We only did it for you, Gordon, and we thought it was best for you.
You fool, you fool.
Say anything you want, Gordon. I don't care, but let me help you, please. It doesn't count what I am. Just let me help you.
I'll get it. Okay, Jess, thanks. Henry Miller, the boy's father.
I don't want to see him in here. I don't know him. He's not my father.
All right, take it easy, Gordon.
Please, honey, try to understand. We only want to help.
Who's in charge here?
My name's Friday, Mr. Miller. This is my partner, Sergeant Smith.
The handcuffs on my son. Gordon, who did it? Who put them on you?
I did, Mr. Miller. The only way we could settle him down.
Taking quite a bit of authority in your hands, aren't you? Get them off of him right now. No reason to handcuff him.
Sorry, can't be done.
I said take them off. I have a little influence in this town. I'll see to it that the police commission hears about this. Now, what's my son doing here anyway?
It's the Hoffman woman, Dad, Elizabeth Hoffman.
What about her?
She's dead. Gordon says he killed her. Dad, we've got to do something.
Don't tell him anything, Gordon. Don't say a thing. I'll get a lawyer for you right away. I know what your rights are. Don't tell him anything.
Did you know Elizabeth Hoffman, Mr. Miller?
I knew her slightly. Can't see what this fuss is all about anyway. Woman wasn't any good to begin with. No good at all.
You ought to be glad I'm handcuffed to this chair. I never thought of hitting you before. I'd like to do it now.
Please, Gordon, don't say those things.
As far as I can remember, you've been nothing but trouble. Now, either you snap out of it this time or you're on your own. I'm sick of this. Police stations, trampy women keeping you out of jail. Either you start to realize who's boss in this family or there's going to be real trouble. You'll find yourself out in the cold, you'll stay there.
Get him out of here. Get him out of my sight.
Please, Dad, he's not well. Try and understand.
I've had enough, Gordon. I'll send a lawyer for you. That's all I'll do. If you make up your mind I'm boss, you can come home. If not, you can stay away. Now figure it out for yourself. I don't care.
I hate you. I hope you never forget it. I hate you.
Dad.
I'll see you at home, Lillian. It's the maid's night out. Lock the door before you go to bed.
Please, Dad, we've got to help. Don't leave, Dad. Dear God.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
You lock me up now. I'm tired.
All right, Gordon, just a minute. Frank, you want to stay with him?
Yeah, okay.
Miss Miller, you like to step outside for a minute? There's something I'd like to ask you.
Yes, all right. You'll let me see Gordon again?
Yes, ma'am. Come on this way. Now, look. About this Elizabeth Hoffman, Miss Miller. Did you know her at all?
I tried to talk to her. I even offered her money if she'd let Gordon alone. It wasn't any use. She'd been drinking. She wouldn't even listen. Kept saying she was going to marry Gordon.
Well, what's the big attraction, do you know? I mean, between your brother and that woman.
There's only one thing Gordon ever really wanted. He wasn't too interested in women, things like that. All he wanted was to be a musician, a great pianist. That's all he ever wanted. The sad part about it is he'll never make it. I think down deep he knows that. When he was a kid, Dad sent him to the finest teachers. After 6 months, they all said the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
He'd never make it. Oh, he could play well enough, but he certainly wasn't exceptional. He never improved. He just stayed the same. And he started taking lessons from Elizabeth. She convinced him he had a great talent, kept telling him she'd make a great pianist out of him. The last 3 years, she kept promising to take him on a tour, Europe, South America. It never happened. I think Gordon knew it never could happen.
I see. Can you think of any reason at all why he'd want to kill her?
There isn't any reason, none at all. Gordon didn't kill her. He couldn't kill anyone, I'm sure of it.
Well, I hope you're right, Miss Miller, for your brother's sake. Would you excuse me for a few minutes, please?
Yes, all right.
You wait here. You sit down if you want to. I'll be right back.
All right.
All set, Joe?
Yeah, in a minute. Gordon?
You ready to go?
I'd like to ask you one more question, son. I'd like to have you tell me the truth on this one.
Yeah?
What did you have in common with Elizabeth Hoffman? She was twice as old as you are. You gave up a lot for her. She didn't have any money. She was an alcoholic. What was the big attraction?
Why did I love Elizabeth? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
You tell me, Sergeant. Why do you love any woman? Why? Because you need him. You need him. You can't be alone. Nobody can be alone. I needed Elizabeth. That's why I loved her. There's only been 2 women in the world who understood me. One of them was Elizabeth. The other one was my mother. She died when I was 12. Now they're both dead. Both of them. Only ones who understood.
Yeah.
My father didn't understand. He never did. All he knows is business, making money, more money. That's why he hated Elizabeth. He was jealous. She understood me. She knew what I was like, knew all about me. When I was with Elizabeth, I was safe. I was happy close to her. There wasn't anything to be afraid of. I'd go to her just like my mother. I'd put my head on her shoulder and she'd put her arms around me. I wasn't frightened anymore. I was safe. Everything was all right, just like when I was a little kid in the night. I'd call out for my mother. She was always there. She'd put her arms around me and everything was safe. I wasn't afraid. I needed her. It was the same way I needed Elizabeth. Do you understand now? Now do you know why I loved her?
Yeah, I think I do. Only one question left. Why did you kill her?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe I'll remember.
Look, Gordon, are you sure you killed her?
She died in my arms. I must have killed her. Tomorrow, maybe. Maybe I'll remember tomorrow. Is Lillian still here, my sister?
She's waiting outside.
Did you hear my father, what he said? Told her to be sure and lock the door?
Mm-hmm.
Just like my father. They don't have to lock that door. It's locked 13 years ago.
How do you mean?
It's locked the day my mother died.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 19th, an autopsy was performed at the county morgue, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that examination.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, recently I had the pleasure of taking part in a benefit in San Francisco. While I was there, I met and talked to a lot of smokers who told me that they'd switched to Fatimas. They'd found that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Well, now I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatimas for the same reason. Get yourself a pack of Fatimas tomorrow and compare them. You'll find they give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatimas.
The results of the autopsy performed on the body of Elizabeth Hoffman showed definitely that she had suffered from a chronic heart condition aggravated by excessive drinking. Cause of death was listed as myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle. Gordon Miller was released from custody and completely exonerated of the death of Elizabeth Hoffman. 18 months later, he took his own life.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Herb Ellis, Harry Bartell, Joyce McCluskey. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumer. George Fenneman speaking. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Attend the Republican Convention on NBC.
Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's up there in block letters, but down on the waterfront in San Francisco, good printing doesn't mean a thing. You get that on the death certificate. If you're trying to make a living down here, you're not going to have any standing in the community except in a police lineup. I rent boats and do anything else that goes with a weak will and a strong stomach. Well, it's not all bad. Once in a while, something happens that makes you feel good for a moment. Like remembering somebody you kissed a long time ago. But most of the time, you buy your beer the hard way. It works out all right because most people learn to fall in love with a dollar bill and forget about trouble. And everything sounds all right, but sometimes it isn't. Like saying Happy New Year to a lifer. I found that out Wednesday night. I was sitting in the office with a sports page reading about those big tears that Washington senators were shedding when I saw Crockett Odom for the first time. He was a big red-faced guy, and the veins stood out on his face and made a pattern as if he slept on an alligator bag instead of a pillow. He walked over to the desk and started to get quiet in a loud voice.
I want to talk to you, Mr. Novak.
Go ahead, pile up a lead.
My name's Odom. You've heard of Crockett Odom?
I don't get around. Tell me about it.
I'm a lawyer. I want you to watch a client for me. Her name is Wendy Morris.
Is she hard to watch?
You can get bloodshot eyes just looking at her. She drinks a little.
What's a little?
How should I answer?
Any way you like. A pint, a quart. What's a little, Odom? Is she a dipso?
We'll leave it there. She can make a quart of gin disappear while anybody else is looking for the corkscrew.
Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do? Hide the bottles?
Mr. Novak, a full-grown octopus couldn't do that. I'm afraid this is more serious. It involves her husband.
Let her take a drink and lose him. It'll save you money.
It involves her husband or somebody who's supposed to be her husband.
Well, she's got a bad memory?
She's a very wealthy girl, Mr. Novak. 5 years ago, she married a man by the name of Stanley Morris. Immediately after, he went into uniform.
You make it sound selfish.
She's been gone ever since until a month ago. Spent most of that time overseas. The rest in a government hospital.
Yeah?
Now that he's back, something very peculiar has happened. I don't think the man is her husband.
Well, that's a hard part to play. Has she got any theories?
I think she suspects, too. I don't know why I feel that way. He seems to have picked up where he left off. Knows everything about her. Seems normal, but I'm sure the man is an imposter.
Look, Odom, find a corner and patch up that story. You can't get that nearsighted on 5 years' booze.
You don't understand, Mr. Novak. He was seriously injured. That makes identification hard.
You think Stanley Morris is dead?
I think he died somewhere along the line. This man took his place.
That's a lot of trouble just to share a board and room with a boozer.
Not if he can share it with someone else on her money. That's why I want you to watch her, particularly tonight.
Why tonight? Is Stanley full of temper?
It's been leading up to this. He wants her to go to a gambling club. And I know he's too friendly with the owner of the club. I want you to go along as a friend.
Now, look, mister, I wouldn't go as her friend to a masquerade ball. If you're making a deal, make it out in the open.
Do it your own way, Novak. It's $300. Earn it any way you can.
Yeah. Where's the club?
She'll take you. Just pick her up at this address.
Mm-hmm. Does she know about it?
She'll understand you. In fact, that's the only risk you run. I told you she drinks most of the time. But when she doesn't, you're the type she gobbles up.
Yeah, I'll bring some cheese instead.
That won't do any good. It's not the flavor she likes, Mr. Novak. It's the crunch. Good night.
When Odom walked out of there, I knew he was the kind of a guy who'd put the wolf at your door if he could get one wholesale. On the way up the pier, he stopped and looked out at the bay as if he intended to do away with it before morning. And then he turned and disappeared around the corner. Well, I sat there for a while, and I went over his story. I was sure it wouldn't hold any more water than a grocer holds, but I had no way of checking. Finally, about 7 o'clock, I closed the office, and I went by the address he gave me. It was a modernistic apartment up on Telegraph Hill, one of those places where they let a guy out of a basement long enough to paint murals on the front. This one had a guy waving a blonde wig in front of a tired old monk named Faust. Wendy Morris' apartment was up on the second floor, and when I rang the buzzer, she opened the door with a nice, easy motion, like a cat getting ready to eat its young. I could see right away what Odom was talking about. If you ever build a house, you'd want somebody like her in the blueprint. She leaned against the doorway, and she was wearing a crepe evening gown that was supposed to let you know that nature had given her a square deal. She didn't say anything at first. She just kept fingering her glass and looking at you as if you knew she was full of gin and comfort.
It makes a nice rattle. Are you Mr. Novak?
Yeah, I rattle, too. Invite me in.
I bet you do. Come in.
Yeah.
So you all paid to like me. Will a drink help, Mr. Novak?
Yeah.
Sit down. I'll get some soda.
No, this will do.
What did Crockett tell you?
He said you got thirsty.
Did he mention men? Crockett thinks they're related. His sole confession of the medical profession.
He mentioned your husband. Where is he?
I thought that was the problem.
Sounds phony. There must be a way to spot old husbands.
How?
I wouldn't know. Do you think Stanley Morris is dead?
I don't know, Mr. Novak.
Do you care either way?
As long as I'm safe, no. Stanley was no bargain.
Why'd you marry him?
I don't know. I suppose I confused the hangover with love.
Well, he sounds exciting.
About as lively as a dish rag in a steam bath. It doesn't make any difference now, Mr. Novak. I'm frightened. You've got to help me.
You're in for $300, that's all. Where is this gambling joint?
Out on Gary Boulevard. It's called the Mother Lode. The sense of humor belongs to Frankie Fannin.
Is he funny enough to deal with Stanley?
I don't know. Stanley's been out there every night for 2 weeks. Now he's forcing me to go. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason for what?
Don't tempt me, Stanley. This is Mr. Novak, my husband.
I never heard of you, Novak.
You got me worried.
He's a friend of mine.
What does he do, drive a beer truck?
My husband is being subtle, Mr. Novak. He's going with us, Dan.
We don't know anybody well enough to take him with us.
You don't have to feel burdened. I'll take him.
Aren't you wearing out that leash?
Now, look, mister, I'm here on a straight deal. Cash and carry, and your credit's through. From now on, that mouth of yours costs you dough.
Go ahead and pout, Dan. You look better with your lips turned in.
All right, if you like and he goes, I'll have to make another reservation. Hand me the phone, Novak.
Yeah. Here.
Thanks. Let's go, Wendy. Your friend backed out.
I hope they got a good price for my head, because when I started down, shoulder blades were the best I could do for height. I rolled over once, and then I stretched out on the floor as hard as a piece of chewing gum on the theater seat. I don't know how long I chased that woman in the bathing suit. Must have been about an hour when the phone began to ring. I tried to get up once or twice, but I couldn't get the boxcar off my chest, and the phone kept ringing like a piece of crystal in a hailstorm. I finally made a ladder out of my knees and got to the phone. Yeah.
How's your head?
It's a little right. What's on your mind?
Something's gone wrong. I have to meet you.
Not at these prices.
I just got a message from Crockett Odom. I'm leaving now. I want you to meet me in room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
Where is it?
Third-rate trap on Cowell Street. It's important. Will you come?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about your hair. I'll have to rub the bruise for you.
Wait till I get there. You can rub one of your own. She was right about that hotel. In a good season, they couldn't have drawn transient mice. I got there about 9:45. I rode up to room 314. There was nobody there. So I sat down and started to wait. The floor was quiet, except down at the end of the hall, somebody was playing a phonograph record. The music was thin but loud, and I knew they were old records, way back when this bird Bix was a man instead of a memory. It stopped after a while, and I looked at my watch. It was after 10, so I left the hotel and I went out to the gambling joint. I toured the room, but I couldn't find Wendy or Stan. I got a guy at the window, and he remembered somebody like Wendy, so I asked about her. He just pointed over at Frankie Fannon's office and went on making change. I crossed over and knocked at the door. The guy that opened it had a face like 3 pounds of warm putty. It was moist and pink, and he got the idea they put the color in with a spray gun. And if his heart was made of the same stuff, they drained the oil out first.
Yeah?
My name's Novak.
Who's arguing?
I want to talk to you.
Yeah?
Where's Wendy Morris?
I don't know.
She was in here tonight.
It's a jail term. I don't follow women home.
Am I supposed to buy that?
Look, Junior, I don't care whether you live or die. I haven't seen her.
How about her husband?
He owes me dough.
What else?
Ask his wife. He's an IOU to me. I don't know what you're doing here, but you better make your point fast.
Now, look, Fannin, if you got a party, I don't want to blow out the candles, but I want some answers.
Yeah?
She got boosted in here tonight. Why?
I brought her in for word games. I told her if her husband didn't square his fill, I'd work him into hamburger.
Yeah?
She offered to bring the buns. Now, that's all the talk you get, mister. Tip the girl on your way out. I need the money. Come in.
Choose up and tell me which one's Novak.
I am. What's on your mind?
And the other guy's Lucky. I'm Craig from Homicide.
Where's Hellman?
He's got a mouthful of canary, Novak.
That's right. I just left room 314 of the Galbraith Hotel.
So did I.
2 of us made it then. The girl didn't.
Novak, he's trying to tell you Wendy Morris is dead.
How do you know she's dead?
It's the only reason cops drool.
You want to see her, Novak?
No. She was better alive.
Come on down anyway. Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
When I walked out of there, I felt like a voice teacher with adenoids. Whoever Craig was, he was smart, and he tagged all the bases because as we moved through the lobby, he motioned to me, and the desk clerk nodded. Well, I didn't worry about that desk clerk because he hadn't said no for years. But when we got to room 314, I needed China passage. There were 3 or 4 of Craig's men grouped along the dim hall like dirty shadows, and inside, Wendy Morris was stretched out looking in the wrong direction. There was a white sheet draped over, and I wondered where the hotel had borrowed that, but Craig wanted to talk.
You must have had a big beef, Novak.
Sorry, we were friends.
I'll bet that was fun.
I was supposed to meet her here. She didn't show.
The desk clerk says she did.
Not while I was here. I was in that gambling joint by 10:30.
The desk clerk says you asked about Wendy Morris. Then you came up here and killed her. That's the way I'm going to book you.
Check on her husband. You can fit him in near the top of the list.
She got one? It's a lot of blonde hair to keep indoors.
Huh?
Good blondes run like salmon.
Wait a minute, Craig. Give me that sheet. Well.
Yeah?
Craig, you better not book me for Wendy Morris.
Huh?
If you do, you'll mix up all the on-duty angels because somebody killed the wrong woman. This isn't Wendy Morris.
You must be wrong. How do you know?
How does anybody know? They look different. They got different personalities. Take your pick, Craig, but somebody got the wrong woman.
Take another look.
I don't need another with Wendy. The first looks for names and faces.
Yeah?
If you take a second look, mister, it's for love. I guess Craig liked to pick his dead because when he found out the woman on the floor was somebody else, he started to shake a little and his mouth hung open like a broken screen door. I didn't blame him much. I tried to think back and piece it together, but it wouldn't work out. It almost made sense, like the broken phrases of an old conversation, but not enough of it came back, and, well, there was still something missing. What happened to Wendy Morris, and how about this girl on the floor? Where did she get her drag with heaven? I looked down at her again. She was pretty, if you like quiet girls. She had a vacant look in her eyes as if the brains had checked out without letting her know. And the color was starting to leave her face. The light was bad, and you had to look close to see her skin. There were little splotches of pink, and the rest was white, like shrimp that haven't been boiled long enough. Craig was worried, and that's something he couldn't hide.
Who is she, Novak?
I don't know, Craig. We didn't meet her soon enough to know. You should have checked.
The hotel register says Wendy Morris.
Who read it for you? Oh, you're tough, Craig. I'll bet you got the wino scared stiff.
Keep on talking. I'll get you some help. Come on in. He wants to make a statement. On the bed, Novak.
Where'd you get your boys, Craig? They look tired.
On the bed, Novak. All right, Joe, take his arm.
Yeah.
The other two, hold his head back against the bed. Where's Wendy Morris, Novak?
I don't know, Copper. You sure you're from homicide?
So it's against the law. Don't tell anybody. Now make a statement, Novak.
Yeah. Here's a statement about you, Craig.
We'll find out downtown. You can save some teeth. Where's the other girl?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Yeah. Where's Wendy Morris?
Craig, you can go.
Put his head against the bed.
It's for exercise now, Craig.
All right, he's not a season pass. We don't have to hang on to him.
Craig's boys left me hanging on the foot of the bed with somebody's dirty towel and an old garter the maid forgot to pick up last month. I felt my way down to the lobby and into the street, and most of the time, one question kept going through my mind. Craig was going to run me in before. Why had he changed his mind? Well, I found out when I started to turn the corner. Craig had a tail on me, and he was real hard to spot, like a red Nash at the top of the mark. He moved out from under a light near the pool room on the corner, and I watched him in the windows as we walked along. After a while, I quit worrying about him because I knew in a pinch he couldn't follow a conversation with a printed form. Well, I had a lot of ground to cover, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he was a smart one, too. Until he found out if your eyes get red enough, you don't need rose-colored glasses. I finally found him at the cafe house, as tight as a tennis racket in the rain.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay.
Jocko, I want to talk to you.
Some belated Christmas carols, Patsy. The piano player quit and everybody else dropped out, so I'm doing it a cappella by myself.
All right, Jocko.
Christmas eluded me, Patsy. I got up through Christmas Eve, and then I seem to have missed Christmas entirely. Did they hold it this year?
Well, it wouldn't happen if you'd get up in the morning.
I refuse to get up early, Patsy. I refuse to get up in the morning until the streets have been aired. The only things that should be around at that hour are peasants and a bunch of random dew.
Jocko, will you listen? I'm in trouble.
I'm not surprised, because you're a counterfeit, Patsy. You're a piece of plate in a room full of sterling. You're like some of the rest of these people running around in a hurry.
Jocko, please.
Just plunging into anything. Look at the papers. Some people have spent years shooting a rocket 110 miles into the air. What's the use?
Will you listen?
What's the use? When you get 110 miles up, all you can do is turn around and come on back down again. We're killing time 110 miles in the air instead of learning to spend it down here.
All right, all right.
Oh, it's depressing, Patsy. Running around in a frenzy like a rooster in a barnyard full of ducks. I'm ready to take to drink.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes. Humanity's a tough life. What kind of trouble?
I bought a murder rap for $300.
Well, if it's a bargain, why complain? Who's dead?
I don't know who she is. Homicide found her in a hotel on Powell Street. I tagged by before the murder.
Serves her right. If I were a woman, I wouldn't trust you in the middle of Stanford Stadium with 80,000 people.
It was the wrong woman. It was supposed to be a gal named Wendy Morris, but she didn't show.
Oh, that was shrewd of her.
I was hired by a lawyer named Crockett Odom to watch her.
Why?
She's a dipso.
She must have some faults.
Odom suspects her husband. He was in uniform, and now that he's back, Odom figures he's a fraud out for the girl's money.
Can't the girl tell the difference?
She's not sure.
I don't think she was observant.
Now, look, this is a big story, Jocko. I can't fill in all the holes. You got to help me. I want you to check on Crockett Odom, will you?
I need some money.
Oh, you'll booze it away. Now, hurry, Jocko. If you need money, get a job.
Oh, I
can't go to work, Patsy. I'm a victim of my own conscience.
Yeah?
I'm stuck with a dilemma. I'm willing to go to work, but I work too cheaply. And on the other hand, I'll not support slave labor. So it's morally impossible for me to go to work. Good night, lover.
It was about 11:30 when I left Jocko, and the two beatings began to catch up with me. I had enough headache to pass out to a Bay Meadows crowd on a bad day. The tail behind me began to look tired, so I dropped by headquarters to give him a rest. I asked for the head of homicide, but the desk told me that Hellman was on his honeymoon, and they kind of laughed when they said it, as if they thought he got the girl there on a bench warrant. All they'd done at headquarters was identify the dead woman. Her name was Emily Van Kirk, and she had no record. I dropped by the hotel, and the first break showed down there. The desk clerk knew about Emily Van Kirk. He'd mixed the rooms up, and he'd put Wendy in the wrong one. That meant that maybe she was at the hotel after all. It also meant that Emily was in the clear. She was just a girl on her way to Seattle, and she got a longer ride than she paid for. I called Wendy's, but I couldn't get an answer, so I dropped by my place to wait for Jocko. Stanley Morris was there, chewing his fingernails. When I walked in, he was up to the wristwatch.
Mr. Novak, where's my wife? You're hiding her.
She's good enough to hide, but this isn't the night.
Oh, where is she? She must have gone to you after that hotel.
How do you know she was there? Did you drop by, too?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well, it makes a big difference to me. We're all out of phones. Now tell me about that hotel.
Crockett Odom told me to come there.
Why?
I don't know. I was supposed to be there at 10:30. It was some kind of a crazy scheme.
Was the dead girl mixed up in one?
Sorry, it wasn't Wendy. Odom tried to break up this marriage. I wish he had.
You sound feeble, mister.
You don't know her the way I do. She's a cold-blooded animal. The only cold-blooded animal that doesn't bear fur.
You're building a case.
I don't know what'd have her around. I suppose you would. There's a certain localized beauty you'd go for, but nobody else would have her. They'd find out what she is, a puff adder with a good figure.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Huh?
We got company. Somebody's coming in the door. Watch it. There goes the light. All right, stand back. He couldn't have died any faster with a priority. I got to the door and threw on the light switch, but whoever it was had gone and the hall was dark. When I got back to Stan, he was lying there like a well-trained sponge. He wasn't a good enough guy to bleed in the living room, so I dragged him into the kitchen and left by the back way. I had to get word to Jocko, so I left a message at his place telling him to get in touch with me at Wendy's. I went up there to sit on her doorstep and wait if it took all night. I wasn't going to freeze, though, because she opened the door as soon as I knocked. She was still wearing that crepe gown, and she was yawning and stretching her arms. Oh, you might not want to bring her home to Mother, but you'd want to start anyway.
Do you always look at women this way, Patsy? I feel like Eve.
And I'll bet you got a kitchen full of apples. Do I argue or come in?
You may argue, but do it in here.
Yeah. When'd you get back?
Why?
Somebody just killed Stan.
If you're sure, the drinks are on me.
He didn't like you either.
We'd be even if he had anything to start with. Don't ever marry, Patsy.
Now, look, lady, I'm nursing a murder rap, and I need some answers. Was Stan a phony?
He's the same guy I married, if that's what you mean.
You weren't sure 4 hours ago.
I wanted an answer then.
What kind?
You're too far ahead, Patsy. Come to a trot and have a drink.
Lady, has anybody ever told you about a slow burn? I got one now.
I'll bet you have, darling.
Oh, this room isn't big enough for games, baby.
Come here, Patsy.
Go find a guy with a bag of wild oats.
Stop shadow boxing, Patsy.
All right, baby.
Patsy.
That's what makes the poor so happy. They don't have phones. Yeah.
Patsy, this is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Crockett Odom is in love with Wendy Morris.
Does it go both ways?
Well, different rate of exchange. I got something else, too.
Yeah?
Her will is a big temptation.
Go ahead.
If she bows out, all the dough goes to her husband. Maybe the guy is a fraud.
Oh, he's going to have it straightened out. What else?
The funny part of the will.
Uh-huh.
If they're both dead, all the dough goes to Crockett Odom. You better see him in a hurry.
Well, that doesn't make sense. If he killed her and got all that dough, it'd cost him that much to get another like her.
Maybe not.
Uh-huh. You haven't seen her, Jocko. He wouldn't pass that up. She's nice and speedy.
Oh, I can explain that. When you're over 50, you don't mind the speed. It's the freewheeling you hate to think about.
When Jocko hung up, I knew he had a good pair of seats. That story of Stan's finally made sense. There was only one reason why he could have been called there at 10:30, and for the first time I tumbled why Craig had let me go back in that hotel room. Everything was right in place like a mixmaster in a bride's kitchen. I dropped by headquarters and left a note, and then the girl and I ran into Craig down at the desk. I briefed him on what had happened, and we rode up to Crockett Odom's apartment. When we got to the living room, things turned stormy.
Hello, Novak. It's too late to start a party.
Oh, you're going to like this one, Odom.
That's right, darling. You'll love it. This is Craig from Homicide.
He wants you for murder.
It doesn't sound right, Craig.
Novak's calling it. See him.
I talked to Stan before he died. He tipped your mitt, Crockett.
He couldn't tip a water glass.
He was smart enough to know you sent for him. That's why he didn't show at 10:30.
You better have it in writing.
No, I don't need it that way. I got Craig. He won't let you out that easy.
What's he talking about, Craig?
Homicide will shake him down too fast. You're with the walking dead now, Craig. I left a note. They know you killed the girl.
Are you crazy, Craig, to come up here?
I can't argue now. He's too lucky, Odom.
I got all sevens tonight, Craig. Crockett Odom sold you bad goods. He did everything wrong.
Thanks, Odom. I'm going to leave you, but don't let the bag get too heavy.
Now, wait a minute, Craig. You're not going to let me hang for this.
You won't. They burn in this state.
Stay away from that door, Craig.
Sorry, Odom. You dealt me in, but I got bad cards. I want to see you play them alone.
Can you get by this gun?
I'll make a try. Hang on to your skin. Give me a hand, Novak.
Yeah, anything to help you die. Here.
How's Odom?
He'll keep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Novak. What'd I do wrong?
Everything. But mostly when you let me go up in that hotel room.
Yeah. I should have pinched you then. I'm a tender-hearted guy.
You're a bum, Craig. I can move you down a step lower even. You're a liar. I checked. You're not working for the city. They never heard of you downtown.
I'm not going to make it, Novak. Lay my head down.
Yeah. I'll put it down easy. Goodbye, Craig. I hope you have a long night. Craig made the morning he had to cheat. They patched up Odom and got most of the story out of him. Jocko was right. Odom got tired of chasing the girl and went after the money instead. He drummed up that phony story to plant a reason for a quarrel, and then he tried to pay it off in that hotel room. He offered a cut to Craig for the heavy-duty work. Wendy was supposed to show up at 10:15. Craig would kill her and wait. When Stan showed up at 10:30, Craig was supposed to stage a fight and kill him. That way, he'd be in the clear, and so would Odom. They'd say it was a husband and wife quarrel, and Craig had a phony shield to back him up. Craig dreamed up that story about being a cop. But the whole scheme went haywire when the desk clerk mixed up the rooms. Craig killed the wrong woman, and Stan got there late. That's why he got scared when it turned out to be somebody else, so he let me go. Odom was afraid that Stan had showed up and knew the story, so he had a ticket right away. The guy who tailed me was handy for that. When did I first tumble to something wrong? When I was sure that Crockett Odom had told a lie. He said the girl was a dipso, but when I got there, she was drinking soda with her whiskey. And a good dipso won't waste that much time. Well, it worked out all right. Hellman was on his honeymoon, so he didn't have any questions. I'll bet his wife did.
for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. 2 armed bandits hold up a restaurant in your city. The owner is slugged, beaten viciously. One of the bandits is shot. The other makes good his escape. Your job? Get him. Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality.
Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Switch to Fatima yourself today.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, June 2nd. It was smoggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Diddy. My name's Friday. It was 7:53 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Oh, good morning, Joe.
Morning, Frank. What's doing?
Not too much. How was the weekend?
It was great. I hated to come back. It's sure nice up there.
Where'd you go? Same place?
Yeah, Lake Mary. You remember Don Camp House up there, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
He said to say hello. Fishing's real great up there. You ought to try and make it next month or so if you can.
Fat chance.
Well, what's the matter?
The in-laws are loose again. They're coming down for a visit. Never stay less than a month. That'll take care of my vacation.
That's too bad. Why don't you say something to the wife?
What's the use? Why start an argument?
I don't know what you mean. Well, what do we got here? Anything hot?
Yeah, this one here. Hold up and slugging, cafe down on South Hill. Radio car boys jumped and shot one of them. The other one got away.
We identified yet?
Yeah, the one who was shot, Benny Ashford. Record long as your arm. Graduate from Folsom. Some of them never learn.
How about the number 2 man?
Don't know. They tried to talk to this Ashford last night. He wouldn't tell them anything. I called the hospital just before you came in. They operated on the guy 6 o'clock this morning. You're going to call as soon as he's able to talk. It's going to be a couple days at least.
Mm-hmm. How much they get?
Here's a crime report.
Thank you. You talked to victims yet?
No, not yet.
It's a fair night's work, isn't it? $805 in cash, man's diamond signet ring, estimated value of $1,500. 17 stitches in the victim's scalp, slug with a revolver, huh? Must have meant business.
Lousy thing. They didn't have to slug him. He couldn't put up much of a fight anyway, 68 years old.
No other witnesses, huh?
No.
Just the owner, his wife, the bartender?
That's all they have listed, yeah.
Did you phone the victims yet?
No, it was just right when you came in. 2 phone numbers for them. They're both listed there.
Yeah, I see. Why don't you finish up with the day book here and I'll give him a call, all right?
Okay, fine.
Here, you want a pencil?
Oh, fine.
Hello, this is Friday, Los Angeles Police Department Central Robbery. Mr. and Mrs. Reiner there, please? Neither one of them, huh? Well, how about the bartender? Is he there? 6 o'clock, I see. No, that's all right. I got their home phone. Yeah, thanks very much. Nobody there.
Try the other number?
Yeah. Hello, is this the Reiner residence? Yeah, well, this is Friday LAPD Central Robbery. Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Reiner. Oh, I just called the restaurant trying to get a hold of you. How's Mr. Reiner this morning? I see. I wonder if it'd be possible if my partner and I could drop out and see you this morning. No, your case has been assigned to us. Yes, ma'am. Well, how about 10 o'clock? That'd be convenient for you? All right, fine. Yes, right away. Thank you very much. Bye. I got it set up, Mr. and Ms. Reiner.
Yeah?
10 o'clock this morning out at their home.
How's the old man feeling?
My wife says pretty rough. He lost quite a bit of blood. Big shock for an old man.
It's too bad.
She says he's still pretty hazy, but we can talk to him. One thing he remembers pretty well, though.
Yeah?
The face of the man who slugged him. 8:20 a.m. We finished making up the day book, and then we went over to the main jail to interview 2 other robbery suspects who'd been booked in over the weekend. We completed our 510 reports on them, and then we got in the car and drove out to the Westchester district to talk to the victims of the cafe holdup the night before, Mr. and Mrs. William Reiner. 9:55 a.m. We arrived at the Reiner home, and a small, gray-haired woman answered the door and asked us in. She identified herself as Mrs. Reiner.
Come right into the living room, officer, and make yourselves to home.
Thank you. You go ahead,
I hope you'll excuse the way the house looks. Everything's all upset. I haven't had a chance to do any picking up.
It's perfectly all right, ma'am. We understand.
I was up with my husband half the night. Had hurt him something terrible. It was almost 6 in the morning before he got to sleep. I hope this is enough to make up his mind for him.
How do you mean, Mrs. Reiner?
About selling the place. I've been after him for months to get rid of it. Business like that's for younger people. We're getting too old to keep it up. Besides, the doctor's been telling William he needs more rest, less worry.
I see. Well, how's your husband feeling now, ma'am?
Oh, not so well. He lost so much blood and his head's so sore. He's taking a nap right now. I expect he'll be awake in a few minutes. That's all right with you, isn't it, officer?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly all right. We'd like to go over the thing with you anyway. Might possibly be something that you forgot to mention to the officers last night.
Well, I told them everything. I'm sure I did.
Maybe some of the details, Mrs. Reiner. Maybe some little thing that didn't seem important to you could mean a good deal to us.
Well, I don't know. I thought I told them everything. Where do you want me to start?
Well, when did you first notice the 2 hold-up men, Miss Reiner?
When they come out of the back room. I guess they'd been hiding there.
You noticed them earlier in the evening? I mean, were they customers in your place?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think so.
Where were they served? Was it in the restaurant or were they in the bar?
Well, there again, I'm not positive, but I think it was in the bar. I think I served them 2 bottles of beer.
You don't happen to remember what you did with those 2 bottles, do you, ma'am? Possible we may be able to lift some prints off of them.
No. The officers asked me that last night. It wouldn't do any good. You see, I was the only one who touched the bottles. We used the regular big mugs, and I poured the beer for them. Neither one of them touched the bottle.
Now, how about the man who escaped, Miss Reiner? You remember him pretty well, do you? What he looked like?
Oh, yes. Yes, he's the one who did all the talking. He's the same one who hit my husband, too.
What did he look like, ma'am? How old would you say he was?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd say he was in his late 30s, yes.
How tall, ma'am?
Well, my husband's 5'9", and I'd say the man was 2 inches taller than him. He's huskier, too. I'd guess about 175 or 80 pounds, a very strong-looking man.
Do you remember what he was wearing, Miss Reiner?
It was a tan sports coat, I think, and green slacks, light green, and a dark brown hat.
Did you notice anything unusual about him?
I beg your pardon?
Anything outstanding about him? Anything that was different? Say a scar, a mole, tattoos, anything like that?
No, not that I could notice.
What was the first thing this man said to you and your husband, ma'am?
Well, he said it to all 3 of us, me and my husband and the bartender. That's George O'Leary. He's been with us for years. He's a good bartender. He'd only stay sober.
Yes, ma'am. What was the first thing the hold-up man said?
Well, he's the same one that hit my husband, you know. He said in a real loud voice, he said, "This is a stick-up. Get your hands up high and keep them there."
So what happened then, ma'am?
We put our hands up for George. That's the bartender, you know. Scared him so bad he dropped a full bottle of bourbon. Bonded, too. Broke all over the floor. George isn't well. That's why he drinks.
Well, what did the hold-up men do after they had you raise your hands?
Well, that one that hit my husband, he told the other man to go behind the bar and get the money. It was all spread out on the bar. William and I was just checking the register when it happened.
Let's see. Would you go on, please?
Well, after they got the register money, they put it in our bank bags, and then they went through my purse and through my husband's wallet and through George's wallet, too. They took George's last $1.50. Got $805 in all. Cash, I guess you knew that.
Yes, ma'am. What happened after that?
Jenny, where are you?
Oh, will you excuse me, officer's my husband.
Yes, ma'am. Right ahead.
I'll just see what he wants. I think he'll be able to talk to you now.
All right, ma'am. Frank, do you remember to bring that mug book?
Yes, it's out in the car.
That's good. We can leave it here with the Reiners. Pick it up later tonight.
Okay, you want me to get it now?
No, let's wait and see how he is, huh?
Officers, would you like to come back here? Officers?
Yes, ma'am, we're coming. Jenny, would you pull up chairs for the officers?
Oh, why, surely. Officers, this is my husband, Will.
How do you do, sir?
Here you are, Sergeant.
Thank you very much.
You catch the other man yet? The one who hit me?
No, sir, not yet. That's why we're out here. We know that you don't feel too well, Mr. Reiner. We'll try to keep it short.
No, I sure don't. I guess Jen told you. My head's killing me. Poor girl. I kept her up most of the night, I guess. Sure, fine nurse, Jen. She didn't get any rest at all.
Yes, sir. Well, she was just telling us about the holdup last night, sir, how it happened.
I was telling them how they got the money, Will. I didn't explain about your ring, though. Do you want to tell them?
It was the worst part of the whole thing. I'd rather have lost anything but that ring.
How's that, sir? Some kind of a keepsake?
It belonged to my dad. Diamond Signet. Stone wasn't perfect, but money sure can't replace it.
Yes, sir.
I remember when Dad gave it to me. It was just a couple of days before he died. It was his ring. Been the family way back.
Which one of the holdup men took the ring, Mr. Ryan?
The same one hit me. One got away. After they took all our money, he came over to me and said, "Give me the ring. Hand it over." I told him I couldn't get it off my finger.
What did you do then, sir?
Slapped my face. Said if I couldn't get the ring off, he could. Said if he had to, he'd cut it off. I pleaded with him. I told him what it meant to me. It didn't do any good.
I see.
When I didn't give him the ring right away, he brought that gun down right on top of my head. Hit me as hard as he could. I don't remember too well after that.
You think you'd recognize the man if you ever saw him again, Mr. Ryan?
No, I'll never forget him. I sure hope to find the ring, officer. Jen and I have been through some tough times together. I guess at one time or other we've either sold or pawned everything we owned. But we never let go of that ring. Never did. Not until last night. Isn't that right, Jen?
Yes, that's right, Will.
Well, we'll do all we can to get it back for you, Mr. Reiner. Now, about this man who got away, can you remember anything outstanding about him at all? Anything unusual?
No, I don't think so. He had mean-looking eyes. I remember that much.
Yes, sir.
Kind of the smart-aleck type, I guess. Kept twirling his gun around his hand, on his finger, you know. I was scared to death it was going to go off. So was George. He's our bartender. Real scared, wasn't he, Jen?
Oh, yes. George was white as a sheet.
How do you mean, Mr. Reiner, he twirled the gun around?
Oh, you know, like in the movies, cowboy pictures. Typical smart-aleck. He sure did run when the cops came, though. Only wish he was the one who got shot.
Well, you're sure you'll be able to identify this man if you see him again?
I told you I'll never forget him. Say, there's something about this I don't think I understand.
Yeah?
Why you ask me all these questions about it? How about the fellow who was with that crook? Fellow they shot. Why don't you talk to him? He ought to be able to tell you who his partner is.
Well, he had an emergency operation, sir, at 6 o'clock this morning. His condition's still critical.
Oh, I see. Just a matter of time then, huh? I mean, when he recovers, you'll be able to talk to him. You'll find out what you want to.
Well, there's only one hit, sir. Whether he recovers or he doesn't recover.
Yes?
Either way, we can't depend on him. 11:38 a.m. After we finished interviewing the holdup victims, Frank got the mug book out of the car containing pictures of recent robbery releases from the state prisons, and we left it with Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. We instructed them that if they succeeded in identifying any one of the pictures, to take down his name and prison number and call our office immediately. We told them we'd be back later that afternoon. 11:50 a.m. We left the Reiner home and drove down to the scene of the robbery, the restaurant on South Hill. When we got there, Officer Walmsley from Leighton Fingerprints was just leaving. He told us that he'd been unable to raise any legible prints at the back window where the number 2 suspect had escaped. Frank and I checked over the scene, and then we headed back for the office. There were half a dozen messages for us in the book. One of them was to call State Parole Officer Fred Galloway at his office on South Broadway. Frank put in the call, and Galloway said he'd be right down. He thought he had something for us. 1:05 p.m. Galloway met us in the squad room and briefed us on some of the information that he'd received earlier that morning from one of his parolees. It concerned the wife of a former holdup man who now was wanted by Galloway for violation of parole. He told us the wife had rented a car from a U-Drive lot in Santa Monica, and that supposedly the ex-con and his wife were planning to leave the city.
What's the tie, Fred? How's it figure in for us?
I was talking to Chandler this morning. He happened to mention the holdup you're working. This fellow answers the description of the one who got away.
What was that name again, the ex-con?
Ernest Morgan. Your L.A. number 178435. Folsom number is 12968. Reason I got pepped on is the thief could have hurt his leg jumping out of the back window of the bar. You figure he could have?
Yeah, easily. It's a good 35-foot drop. Why, Fred?
Well, my informant says that Ernie Morgan has a bump foot. Hurt it so bad he can hardly walk on it. Says he saw Morgan day before yesterday. His leg was all right then.
Sounds like a good one to get off the street, huh? What do you say we check his package?
Good idea. Your informant say who this Morgan's been running with, Fred?
He said he didn't know. He thinks he plays it alone, more or less.
Go ahead, Fred. You contact the U-Drive lot, Fred, and get the dope on the car?
Yeah. Didn't want to put the teletype on until I was sure. One of the fellows from our office had to make a call out that way. They're taking a mugshot of Morgan's wife out there to see if the U-Drive clerk can give him an ident on her.
She got a record?
Well, she's never done any time. She's did a couple of pinches with him. Never could make her on anything, though.
I'll pull the packing.
All right, fine.
How about your victims, Joe? They any good?
Yeah, they claim they can identify the man. I don't think we'll have any trouble there. How about this informant of yours? You know where we can locate the Morgans?
No, not now. According to him, Morgan and his wife left town about 9 this morning. He thinks he might get a line of where they're headed, though.
Well, how come your informant knows so much about Morgan? He run with him?
No, he sold with him up at the joint.
Fred, Joe, you want to have a look?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the package, his mugshot.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your Ernie Morgan, Fred?
Yeah, that's him.
Good picture?
Yeah, looks just like it.
The description, Joe. It's got everything right down the line.
Yeah.
Check this right here. Habits and characteristics.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it?
What's that?
He likes to twirl a gun in his hand. 1:52 p.m. We placed Ernest Morgan's picture in an envelope along with 24 other mug shots, and then we put in a call to Mr. and Mrs. Reiner, told them we were coming out to see them. They told us that so far neither one of them had been able to identify any of the pictures in the mug book that we'd left with them. Fred Galloway went back to his office, and we told him we'd notify him the minute we got a positive identification. 2:25 p.m. We drove back to the Reiner home. The old man was still in bed.
Been all the way through this book of yours, officer. Couldn't find one who looked like the man, could we, Jen?
No, his picture's not in there, Sergeant. We're sure of that.
I see. Well, we've got some more of them here, folks. I'd like to have you look through them if you don't mind. See if you can identify one of them.
Yes, all right. Jen, would you fix this pillow back here for me, please?
Oh, yes, of course, dear. There you are.
Thank you.
You see any picture in the book that resembled the man at all, sir?
No, I didn't. None of them. Wasn't one who looked like him.
Well, here you are. See if any of these pictures look familiar to you.
Thank you, sir. Jen, you want to sit here by me? We can see them together.
All right, Will. Let's see now. Mm-hmm. Oh, my, look at this one, Will. Doesn't he look like a mean one?
Mm-hmm. Yes, look at this one, Jen. Look at him. Think he's a college graduate, wouldn't you?
Oh, my, yeah. Officer, this young man here, what did he do?
Let me see that, ma'am. Oh, yeah, it's Marty Lee, hold up and murder, Miss Reiner. Shot and killed an elderly lady. She ran a candy store.
Oh, my, you feature that. Such a clean-looking boy. Never believe, would you, Will?
Takes all kinds, I guess. Let's see now. No.
Let me see, Will. Oh, no, that's not him.
No, we've been through these already. Have you some more, officer?
No, that's all, Mr. Reiner. You sure the hold-up man's picture isn't in there?
No, sir. I looked at him all pretty carefully. I didn't see him. Did you, Jen?
No, I didn't see him. Was his picture supposed to be in here?
Well, we thought so, ma'am. Let's see. Here, how about this one? Does he look familiar to you?
Jen?
No, I don't know. Maybe not. We serve so many people every night.
Are you folks sure you'll recognize the hold-up man when you see him?
Oh, yes.
Of course, yes.
Just one more question here, Mr. Reiner.
Yes?
Now, are you absolutely sure this is not the man who held you up and slugged you last night?
Yes, I'm sure. That's not the man.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Because of Fatima quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Switch to king-size Fatimas yourself.
You'll find they're distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Yes, that's why Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Remember, the name stands for quality.
Insist on mild and soothing king-size cigarette with the added protection of Fatima quality. Ask your dealer for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Monday, June 2nd, 2:45 p.m. After the victims, Mr. and Mrs. Reiner, failed to identify Ernest Morgan as the robbery suspect, Frank and I got in the car and drove back to the office. Neither one of us had anything to say. Just at the moment we figured that we had the suspect positively identified, the victims themselves had contradicted what we thought was definitely the answer to the case. It wasn't by any means a news story. One of the first lessons a working detective learns is to keep an open mind, regardless of how incriminating the circumstances first appear to be. The big fallacy of a detective being too sure too soon is based, for the most part, on the failure to recognize that police work means human beings dealing with human beings. So instead of going by the usual odds, the human margin for error is double. Frank and I didn't have too clear an idea of how or why it came about, but suddenly we found ourselves farther away from the solution of the case than before we started. 3:10 p.m.
Lousy day, huh?
Yeah, sure.
10 after 3. Feel like I haven't slept for 2 days.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Pretty hard to figure, isn't it?
Sure hope the wife did the washing today.
Why?
She won't feel much like talking. I sure don't.
Well, let's check the book, huh?
Yeah, I'll do it. A couple of phone calls, Joe. One from the hospital, prison ward.
What do they want?
Our number one suspect, Ashford. He's doing better than they figured. Be available for interview tomorrow morning.
Lucky thief, huh? Was a copy, would have died.
Another message. It's from Galloway. Wants us to call him. It's still a Madison number?
Yeah. You want the pad?
Oh, yeah, please.
There you go.
Adult parole, please, men. Thank you. Fred Galloway, please. Smith, robbery, LAPD. Thanks. Hi, Fred. Frank Smith. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. You sure about that? Uh-huh. Sure doesn't figure. No, I didn't mean a thing to him. Yeah. Okay. Right. Thanks, Fred. It's got me, Joe.
Why, what's the matter?
Galloway got the report back from that U-Drive lot, place where Morgan's wife rented that car.
Mm-hmm.
They identified her as the woman who rented that car. She offered him a deal. She didn't want to leave a cash deposit for the car.
Well, what'd she offer?
Man's ring, diamond signet.
After we got the word from State Parole Officer Fred Galloway, we got out a broadcast and an APB, in addition to those we already had out. We requested that the rented car and the occupants be held for questioning in connection with the robbery of Reiner's Cafe the night before. If a man's diamond signet ring was found in possession of the occupants or in the car, it was to be booked as evidence. The following morning, Frank and I interviewed our number one suspect, Benny Ashford, in Ward 13,400 at General Hospital Prison Ward. Because he had the idea his partner had run out on him and taken the money with him, that he'd let him down, Ashford was in a fairly cooperative mood. After talking with him for a little more than 20 minutes, he named Ernest Morgan and identified his mugshot as his companion in the robbery of Reiner's Cafe. He also told us the holdup was Morgan's idea, and that Morgan had told him the job would be a pushover. We asked him where he thought we might locate Morgan, and he told us our best bet was Las Vegas, Nevada. Supposedly, Morgan had a good friend in Las Vegas, an ex-con by the name of Harry Breen. Frank and I went back to the office where we met with Inspector Farnan and Captain Didion. At 1:30 that afternoon, according to instructions, Frank and I signed out a trip car and headed out U.S. Highway 91 for Las Vegas. We checked in at the Las Vegas Police Department a few minutes before 8:30 that night. The alleged friend of the suspect, Morgan, Harry Breen, had already been taken into custody by Las Vegas officers on the request of Captain Didion. We began questioning Breen, and he readily admitted that he was acquainted with Morgan.
All right, how long ago did you see Morgan?
I don't know, this afternoon sometime.
About hours in an afternoon. When did you see him?
What are you so excited about? What did he do, commit a murder?
Well, look, Breen, how much time do you owe the state?
What's that got to do with it?
We didn't drive all the way up here just to pass the time of day with you. You know he's hot. If you want to cover for him, you can serve his time.
Look, I don't get it. I'm not his keeper. If you want him, find him.
I bet we're going to find him if we have to walk all over you to do it. When the two of you are up doing time, you can figure it out for yourselves.
The trouble with you cops, once a guy does time, you can't leave him alone. I've been leveling since I got out. I've been carrying a lunch pail every day.
All right, now look, Breen, who do you think you're giving a snow job? We've been kidded by experts. You're not giving us anything new. We didn't send Morgan up to see you. If you're so lily-white, how come Morgan got in touch with you? All right, I'll tell you. You're as bad right now as the day they locked the gate on you. You're never sorry for what you've done. You just moan because they caught you. Save that act for the jury, Breen. We're not going to buy it. Now, what about it? Where is he?
Wait a minute, huh? What are you so sore at me for? I didn't rob anybody.
Who said you did? You must have been talking to Morgan.
All right, I have. I told you I talked to him. He came around this afternoon. Now, get off my back.
What do you want?
He's hot. He wanted to cool off.
Where's he now?
I don't know. Well, look, how should I know? He came around with his wife, asked for a favor. I couldn't do it. I just got married. My wife's a square. I told her about it. She wouldn't go for it. The guy's a big crybaby anyway, trying to tell me how we ought to stick together. He's never done a favor for me.
You see the car he was driving, Breen?
Yeah, convertible coupe Packard. California plates.
How'd you notice? You got the license number?
No, he asked me where he could get some cold plates. I figured it was hot.
You get him any plates?
Look, I wouldn't know where to get them. I already told you. I've been leveling ever since I got out. There's no use kidding. I couldn't do any more time. I'm too old. One more trip and I'm through. I'm really through. I got a good wife. She works every day. I don't want to lose that.
All right, Breen. You take your choice. What do you mean? Who do you like the best, Morgan or your wife? What about it?
All right, you got it.
The suspect's friend, Harry Breen, went on to admit that during the conversations he'd had with Ernest Morgan that afternoon, Morgan had told him that he and his wife were going to San Francisco. There, supposedly, they would contact a man by the name of Beggar Harrison, who operated a restaurant out by Hunter's Point. He said the Morgans had told him that they planned on driving at night only to lessen the chances of the police spotting their car. We immediately got in touch with Inspector George Haig of the San Francisco Police Department and notified him of the latest developments in the case. He told us he'd read our teletypes and said that he'd placed the restaurant operated by Beggar Harrison under immediate surveillance. We told him we'd leave early the next morning for San Francisco after we'd gotten a few hours' sleep. Before we turned in, we got off a teletype to Captain Didion, bringing him up to date on what had happened and what our plans were. The next morning at 6:30, Frank and I left Las Vegas for San Francisco. A few minutes after 7 o'clock that night, we checked in at the San Francisco Hall of Justice at Washington and Kearny Streets. Inspector Haig was waiting for us. He informed us Harrison's restaurant out at Hunter's Point was still being covered, but so far, Morgan and his wife had failed to put in an appearance. Along with Inspector Haig, Frank and I drove out to the restaurant and joined the detail that had the place under surveillance. 9:05 p.m., no sign of the suspects. 10 p.m., 10:30, 11 o'clock, midnight, still no sign. We waited.
How about this fog, huh? Sure wish I brought my top coat. I'm freezing.
Yeah, if they don't show pretty soon, we're going to have to pull in closer. I can hardly see the door to the restaurant over there.
Smell that hot coffee. Sure could use a cup right now.
Look at that fog out there, Frank. Can't tell where the bay leaves off and the fog begins.
Wait a minute, Joe.
Yeah?
Car pulling up. Convertible.
Yeah. Packard. Wait till they get in the light. We can see him better.
A man getting out, heading for the restaurant.
Yeah, it looks like him. Come on. Somebody else in the car. A woman.
Haig's got it covered. George is with him.
All right, let's hustle it. Come on.
Passing under the light. It's him, Joe.
Yeah. All right, hold it. Right where you are, police officers.
What's the matter? What do you want?
All right, hands up in front of you. Get them up high.
All right, I got him up. What's it all about? What's the trouble?
Frank, you want to shake him? Yeah. Come on, keep those hands up and stand still.
I'm standing still. Is this a shakedown or what? I haven't done anything.
Nothing doing, Joe. Clean.
Those hands aren't. Your right hand, mister. Let's have a look at it.
All right. Still don't get this. There, what about it?
That ring on your finger. Where'd you get that?
It's mine. Why? I had it a long time.
Diamond signet, a little big for you, isn't it? Doesn't quite fit.
What are you getting at? What's my ring got to do with it?
Where'd you get it?
Crap game. I won it in a crap game. It's down in Las Vegas. I won it gambling.
Is that right?
Yeah, a bunch of guys up in the hotel room shooting a little crap. Just a gamble I won.
Sure of that, are you?
Of course I'm sure. Just a crap game. I took a gamble I won.
No, you're half right, mister.
Yeah?
You gambled, but you didn't win.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 8th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, because you know what you're looking for in a king-size cigarette, all we ask you to do is compare Fatimas and then make up your own mind. You'll find Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma. You get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Smoke king-size Fatima. I'm convinced you'll agree that the difference is quality.
Ernest Harold Morgan was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, along with his accomplice, Benjamin Ashford. Ernest Morgan's wife was tried for conspiracy to commit robbery and found not guilty. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary from 5 years to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you buy defense bonds, you help build your own future security. You also become a partner with Uncle Sam in building America's security. Buy your bond today.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Harry Bartell, Ralph Moody. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. An elderly man has been beaten and robbed of a fortune in unset diamonds. The thief has made good his escape. Your job, find him. Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality.
Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Switch to Fatima yourself today.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 12th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 10:46 a.m. when we got to the Morgan Hotel. Room 922.
Yes?
Police officer, sir. My name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm the manager, Arnold Jackson.
Yes, sir. We're here regarding the robbery, sir.
Oh, Mr. Ruman's in their bedroom. He's lying down.
Has there been a radio unit here, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, they just went down the hall.
I see. The victim in here, sir?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson.
Sure.
Mr. Ruman?
Yes?
My name's Friday, sir. This is my partner, Frank Smith, Central Robbery.
Oh, yes, Captain Friday.
No, sir, it's Sergeant, Mr. Ruman.
Sergeant? I thought sure they'd send a captain.
Well, now, if you can just tell us what happened here.
Well, I brought the stones up here to show him and his father. We made an appointment. He hit me, took everything.
How much was it, sir? Can you tell us?
Everything there was, finest collection, best stones, took my sample case and everything.
What did the case look like, sir?
Just a plain sample case, this high, about this wide.
See, that'd make it about 14 by 18, is that right?
Black leather, plain sample case.
Any identifying marks, initials, anything like that?
No, just a plain black leather case. I don't care about the bag, it's the diamonds. I couldn't come close to their value, maybe 100,000, maybe more.
Now, you say you made an appointment with him. Who is the man, sir?
Fred Robertson. Met him about 3 weeks ago at my club. Having lunch with a friend and another jeweler, and he introduced us. We hit it off right away. He seemed to be a real nice fellow. I can't understand it.
Fred Roberts, will you describe him for us, sir?
I'd say he's about 20 to 30. Could say he's a nice-looking fellow. Sure wore nice clothes. Looked like a real businessman. Always carried a briefcase and all.
Mm-hmm. About how tall would you say he was?
Tall? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm 5'6". He's about 3 inches taller. I'd say he's about 5'9". Not too heavy. Medium build. About your size.
Now, how about his hair, sir? What color was that? You remember?
Brown. Straight brown hair. Might have had a part. I never noticed. He had brown eyes, too. Shouldn't be any problem. People in the hotel must know him. These are his rooms.
I'll call the office and have them get out a broadcast on the description.
All right, fine. You want to check with the other fellows, see if they've come up with anything? I'll stay here with Mr. Ruman.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Frank. Now, you'll have no trouble identifying the man, will you, Mr. Ruman?
No, sir. I'd know him. Those eyes, never forget them. I should have known from the start.
Sir?
His eyes, his shifty, little bitty things set close together. I should have known not to trust him with eyes like that.
Now, you say you met this man about 3 weeks ago, is that right?
Well, this Roberts fellow told me that he was down here from San Francisco. Said he was going into the diamond business. Said he was down here, to buy stock. That he'd heard that I could lay my hands on some fine stones, and he wanted to see what I had to offer.
I see. Did he say that he was going to buy the stones himself?
Oh, no. He told me that his father was putting up the money. He said that his father was coming down here today, and that if he liked the merchandise, we could make a deal. Funny thing, though, I should have known right off.
What's that, sir?
Well, when I came up here this afternoon and showed him the stones I'd brought, he didn't know the good from the bad.
Oh, sir?
Well, in almost any collection, there are bound to be a few stones that aren't absolutely perfect. They look all right, but there may be a small flaw someplace inside the stone. Naturally, their value isn't the highest.
I see, and this Roberts didn't know the difference.
No, but I should have known anyway. Those eyes, the meanest eyes I ever saw, and so close together.
Well, was there anything unusual that you might have noticed about Roberts? Anything about his speech, his manner, anything at all that might help us identify him?
No, just like I told you. Seemed nice enough.
Well, did he give you any indication that there might be something wrong?
Not at all. Of course, I wondered about his not knowing much about diamonds, but I figured that if he was willing to pay what I wanted, I didn't have to concern myself with what he's going to do with the stones.
Well, Mr. Roman, I wonder if we could start from the beginning. Exactly what happened here.
He knocked me out.
No, sir. I mean, what led up to his hitting you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, as I said, he told me to bring the stones up here for his father to see. I did, and then we waited for the father to show up. We were over there by the window looking at the stones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they look better in sunlight.
Yes, sir.
Well, when he finished, he said something about his father never being on time. I turned to look out the window. That's when he hit me, right here on the back of my head. Can you see it?
Yes, sir, I can.
Is it bleeding? Don't lie to me. I'm not afraid. Can you see any blood there?
No, sir. There's quite a bump in the back there.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
You're telling the truth?
Yes, sir. There's no blood.
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
See you a minute?
Sure. Excuse me a minute, Mr. Roman.
Sure, that's all right.
Yeah, Frank.
Called the office. They put out the description. Area's being covered.
Leighton Prince been called?
Yeah. How's Roman getting along?
Oh, he's got quite an egg in his head, but he seems to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Manager says he's called the house doctor. Should be here right away.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Have you caught him yet, Roberts?
No, sir, not yet. As soon as the doctor looks at you, sir, we'd like you to go down to police headquarters with us, if you would.
Of course. But you shouldn't have too much trouble catching him, not with those eyes. Real little beady.
Yes, sir.
But what do you want me to do at police headquarters, Sergeant?
Well, we want to take a full statement, have you look at some pictures, if you would.
With you two?
Yes, sir. Anything wrong?
Oh, no. But you'd figure with all those diamonds gone, that fella hitting me and all, it seems that they could have done better.
Well, how's that, Mr. Roman?
Seems you could have sent a captain.
11:15 a.m. Leighton Prince arrived and went over the rooms. Frank and I were unable to find the instrument Roman had been struck with. Checking with the desk clerk and the elevator operator, we were able to get a composite description of Fred Roberts. It tallied closely with the one given us by Roman. The desk clerk told us that Roberts had checked into the hotel that morning. We obtained a copy of the hotel registration card carrying Roberts' signature for handwriting analysis. The immediate area was thoroughly searched. The suspect had made good his escape. We contacted the victim's office and asked for a full inventory of the stolen diamonds. They were unable to give us a complete inventory at the time, but advised us that the loss would run well over $150,000. 11:57 a.m. After the hotel doctor had examined Ruman and said his wounds were superficial, we drove down to the city hall. While Ruman was looking at the mug books, Frank and I checked the name Fred Roberts and his description through R&I. We were unable to find a record on him. We contacted the stats office and requested a run on the M.O. Local and all-points bulletins were gotten out on the suspect. After looking through the mug books, Ruman was unable to come up with an identification. Further interrogation of the victim failed to turn up any new evidence. The information furnished by the stats office and other contacts yielded nothing. The investigation continued. 3 weeks went by. Tuesday, August 2nd, 8:05 a.m. I checked into the office.
Joe?
Yeah.
You're late. I've been waiting for you.
It's only been 5
Well,
minutes.
there's a lot to do here, you know.
You're in a good mood. What's the problem?
It's the in-laws again. I didn't sleep a wink last night.
Oh, what happened?
That brother-in-law, a real wise guy, knows how to do everything better than anybody else. Nothing he doesn't know.
Well, look, Frank, I'm on your side, but what's the bit here?
Remember how I told you about this place out in the valley where the steaks are so good?
Yeah, it's a butcher shop.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I stopped by last night and I got 6 of the biggest steaks I could find. Real beauties, fillets.
Yeah?
I figured on a barbecue, out in the backyard. Anyway, I get the charcoal out and the kindling and all the stuff. Right away, my brother-in-law says I'm doing it wrong.
Why didn't you tell him?
The wife. She's got to hear how they barbecue back in Sioux Falls. So the brother-in-law throws out all the stuff I'd done, and he starts all over. It took him 3 hours.
Now, what happened?
Well, he never got the fire started. By the time he let me get at it, it was too dark to do anything. He ended up in the kitchen with waffles. I had indigestion all night.
Well, that's the way it goes, doesn't it?
I suppose so. Sorry I jumped in.
That's all right. I don't much care for waffles for dinner myself. I get it, Frank. Robbery Friday. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. What was that address again? Okay, yes, sir. Okay, we'll check it right away. Right.
Anything?
One of our contacts is a rumble down at Jay's down in South Main. Guy's letting it get around that he's got some loose diamonds for sale.
You say when they could be bought?
Yeah, tonight. 8:14 a.m. We signed out and drove over to Jay's bar. We met with our informant. The buy was to take place in the bar at 8:30 that night. He gave us a description of the man who was selling the stones. We checked back into the office and filled Captain Didion in on the latest developments of the case. The plan was laid out that Frank and I would stake out inside the bar. 4 other men were assigned to cover the outside of the meeting place. They would be able to be in constant communication with each other through walkie-talkie equipment. 7:43 p.m. Frank and I took up our positions at the bar. The other men were at their assigned positions. And we waited. 8:19 p.m. 3 men came in and took a table at the rear of the place. They ordered drinks and sat down and talked. None of them matched the description our informant had given us. 8:34 p.m.
Joe?
Well,
just came in. Fits the description pretty close.
Yeah, he's heading back there. Looks like he's one of the 3 guys we've been waiting for, doesn't he? What was that he took out of his pocket?
I don't know. Can't hear a thing from here either.
Well, looks like it's going to get louder, doesn't it?
All right, that's fine with me. I didn't ask you to buy the stuff. You can see for yourself it's good, the price is right. If you don't want to buy it, then you're wasting my time. Lousy chintzy deal. You get me here, and then you pull a deal like this? As far as I'm concerned, the buy's off. Nobody sent for you. Forget it.
That's him. He's got the stones. Let's take him, Frank. Go out the back. All right, hold it up, police officers.
Watch it, Joe.
All right, now stand right where you are. Keep your hands out in the open. You want to shake them down, Frank?
Yeah. Stand still, you.
Hey, what are you tagging us for? Just having a drink? What are you trying to do?
They're clean, Joe.
Oh, boy, got away. They'll pick him up outside.
Look, what do you want us for? Just sitting here having a drink. What are you trying to prove?
Skip it, mister. You're selling us nothing here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Frank?
Yeah, hold still.
Here's my cuffs. All right, let's go.
I'll check outside, see if they got the other one.
Yeah.
Look, you don't need these handcuffs. I'm not going anyplace. I got nothing to hide. What's this all about?
Save it, mister.
Save what? We come in here to have a couple of drinks. We're not bothering anybody. Just a quiet drink. You guys jump on us. What's the pitch, anyway?
Let's stop playing games here. There was a diamond buy tonight, and you were in on it.
Diamonds? Are you kidding? Here, look at me. Do I look like the kind of a guy can afford diamonds? Not only that, but who buys diamonds in a bar? Now, look, let's get this thing squared away. Huh?
Herman and Stromo got the other one. Said they'd take him up to the office.
Anything on him?
No, dropped it while they were chasing him.
What's that?
Bag of unset diamonds.
The 3 suspects we'd apprehended inside the bar were questioned. After a brief interrogation, the suspects admitted that they had gone to the bar for the purpose of buying diamonds. They explained that it was their impression that the stones had been smuggled into the country. The 3 men were booked in on suspicion of robbery pending further investigation. The 4th man, the one who was in possession of the diamonds, was identified as Larry Fry. We checked him through R&I and found that he had a previous record of 4 arrests receiving stolen property dating back to 1946. Frank and I took the suspect to the interrogation room. He told us that he'd found the diamonds in a back alley. The interrogation continued, but we were unable to change the suspect's story. A special show-up was arranged for Mr. Ruman, the victim in the jewel robbery. After looking at the suspect closely, he stated positively that this was not the man who had held him up. However, examination showed that the stones found were part of the diamonds taken in the robbery. The suspect was booked at the city jail. A check of his residence and other leads failed to turn up any additional information. Wednesday, August 3rd, 12:40 a.m. We had Fry brought from his cell. All right, sit down, Fry.
Don't you guys ever get tired of trying?
What do you mean, Fry?
You know what I mean. Questions. Don't you guys ever get tired?
You getting tired?
Yeah, a little.
And why don't you save us all a lot of trouble and tell us what you know?
I don't know what you're after. Believe me, if I knew what you wanted, I'd try to help.
Suppose we start again.
Anything you want. I got nothing but time.
Where'd you get the diamonds?
I found them.
Where?
In an alley.
What alley?
I don't remember.
You find 20,000 unset diamonds in an alley? You don't remember which alley?
That's right. I don't remember which alley. There's a lot of alleys in L.A.
Now with $20,000 in diamonds laying around.
True.
Then why don't you tell us where you found the diamonds?
I told you, in an alley.
What were you doing at Jay's place?
Having a drink. That against the law?
No, but trying to sell stolen diamonds is.
All right, you called it. I was there to sell diamonds, but I didn't know they were stolen. I tried to sell them, just trying to make a buck. Everybody's got to live. I told you, now leave me alone. I got enough trouble in this can with this lousy chow they throw at you. I don't feel so good, huh? Let me go back to my cell and lay down. Oh, kid, you guys ever eaten this jail food? It's terrible.
I've eaten it. It's not too bad.
You got a stomach made out of solid brass. I'd like to have the bromo concession around here. Look, I really wish I could help you guys, but honest, there's nothing to tell. I found the diamonds in an alley. Sure, I tried to sell them, but that's it. Now, you guys know if there's anything I can do...
Now, you come off it, mister. You better get this story straight. We're through playing with you. Maybe you don't know how you stand. I'll fill you in. A man slugged and $150,000 in diamonds are stolen from him. Part of those diamonds turn up in your pocket. You say you found them. I can't buy that, and I don't think anyone else will. You come in here playing like a lily, clean and white. Well, your record doesn't make it that easy to buy. That's how you stand, mister. The whole thing's right in your lap. It fits you like a new suit. Now, it's up to you.
That the way it is?
You call it.
No other way?
None.
Yeah. Well, if I could only get some decent food under my belt and a little fresh air, I might be able to give you guys the answers.
You are listening to Dragnet, Authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality. Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma. And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Yes, there's a good reason why Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, sunny yellow pack. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So next time, insist on Fatima quality. Look for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Smoke Fatima, the extra mild and soothing king-size cigarette, with the added protection of Fatima quality.
We continued to interrogate Fry. From the evasive answers he gave us, it looked as if he was lying about his part in the robbery. When an interrogation seems to bog down, the working detective usually tries to find some subject with which to draw the suspect out, some weak point in his makeup. Maybe it's his parents, his wife, or his children. It might be the fear of having loved ones find out about the crime he's accused of committing. In Fry's case, questions about his family failed to produce any results. We tried other subjects, religion, baseball, golf, fishing. None of them seemed to bring him out of his shell. Occasionally, during the interrogation, he'd refer to the jail food, comparing it to the other food he'd eaten. As the questioning went on, we found that Fry considered himself a gourmet, talking about the dishes that he'd eaten at various restaurants. We tried to lead the questioning around to the diamond theft, but he constantly brought the conversation back to food. Fry had presented us with a possible wedge, and we decided to use it. We signed him out of the city jail and drove him down to Philip's restaurant for dinner. When the waiter brought the menu, Fry didn't read it. He ordered soup, salad, and 2 French dip sandwiches. As he ate, we tried to get him to talk, but he refused, saying that he wanted to finish his dinner first. Frank and I each had a sandwich and some coffee. Fry continued to eat. He ordered 2 more sandwiches. Finally, he pushed his chair back and said that he'd had enough.
Now for some dessert, huh?
Dessert?
Yeah, a meal's not complete without dessert. Figure I'll have some apple pie, a mold, and some coffee. How is the coffee here?
It's good. Now, how about the information?
You know, Friday, that's why you can eat that jail food. You don't take care of your stomach. You gotta learn to relax after a meal. Relax, you'll live longer.
Well, what was that song and dance you gave us about telling us all about it? Just a gimmick to get a free meal?
I told you, take it easy. I'll give you the story after dessert.
All right, Frank.
Yeah.
Get the pie and coffee. Now, the waiter seems to be busy eating.
You wanted that a la mode, Fry? That's right, a la mode. No cream in the coffee. Nice place here. They do a good business.
They've been here a long time.
Best French dip sandwiches I've ever eaten. Nice and lean, aren't they?
Yeah, they put out a good meal.
Here's your pie and coffee. Thanks. 3 spoons of sugar?
That's right.
Coffee sure smells good. Hey, it tastes good, too.
All right, let's get on to business, Fry. Now, what about the diamonds? Where'd you get them?
From a guy named Joe.
What's his last name?
Never heard it.
He gave you the diamonds to sell. You don't know his last name?
Yeah, that's right.
Where'd you pick up the diamonds?
Didn't. Joe came by my house and left them.
What's this Joe like?
Oh, medium height, about 32, medium weight.
How about his coloring?
Medium. He's a real ordinary-looking fellow.
Where'd he say he got the diamonds?
And he brought them out from the east with him. Didn't tell me where he got them back there. I think he's done time someplace.
Why'd you say that?
I just figured it. The way he talks, the way he handles himself. Got the marks.
You'd know him if you saw him again?
Oh, sure.
Think you could point him out to us?
Have you got him?
No, but if he's done time, there's a mug of him. Figures we got it. Want to look through the mug books?
Sure.
How did this Joe get in touch with you?
Called the house, told me what time he'd be there.
When do you usually call?
Most any time. I know what you're figuring, but it won't work. This whole thing's been in the papers. He won't call me now. Too smart for that. He won't show.
How about the diamonds? Don't you think he'll be sorry about you being picked up?
So he saw. He's got no beef. He's still got 130 grand in stones. He's got no worries. Say, how about some more coffee?
No, you've had it for tonight, Fry. Let's go.
Oh, thanks for the meal. Sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
That jail food was killing me. You know, a good meal always makes me sleepy. Sure getting late. Hey, let's knock it off for tonight, huh, fellas? I'm bushed.
No, let's look through the mug books, then we can call it a night.
Honest, fellas, I'm so tired I can hardly see straight. Feeling like this, I couldn't be sure.
All right, Fry, we'll take you back, and we'll see you the first thing in the morning so we can get started.
Okay. Say, I was just wondering.
Yeah?
You think you could work out something for breakfast?
2:30 a.m. After returning the suspect to the city jail, Frank and I went back to the office. We were certain that Fry was in some way implicated in the diamond theft, but we didn't know just how he fit in. Frank and I signed out and went home to get some sleep. 4:45 a.m. I got a call from the business office that a man who identified himself as Joe Ashton had been picked up on a drunk charge. When arrested, he was carrying a black leather case, similar to the one taken in the robbery, containing a large quantity of unset diamonds. The man was belligerent, and other than his name, he refused to tell the arresting officers anything. I called Frank and picked him up on the way into the office. When we arrived at the city hall, the suspect had sobered up considerably, and with a little questioning, he identified himself as a jewelry salesman from Oakland, California. We contacted his employer in Oakland and received an identification on him. Further investigation showed that Ashton was in legal possession of the diamonds. During investigations, false leads are constantly turned up, and although circumstances may tend to discount them, each one has to be thoroughly checked out. 7:45 a.m. Frank and I had breakfast at Johnny Cokin's, and at 8:32 we signed Fi out of the city jail for interrogation.
You had breakfast yet, Friday?
Yeah, I just finished.
Not too bad. How about you, Smith?
Yeah.
What'd you have?
Waffles.
Yeah, I sure like some hot waffles. I didn't eat here. Figure you guys might take me out again?
What are you trying to prove, Fry? Now, let's go over and look at those mug books, huh?
Okay.
Hands behind you.
Oh, now, look.
Behind you. All right, let's go. All right, in the elevator. I'll get it, Frank.
Yeah. Sure, a nice day, but it's warm out.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure you guys don't want a cup of coffee?
No, I told you we'd eaten. Right in the back, Fry.
Sure. Say, sure appreciated that meal last night.
That's good.
We going to City Hall?
Yeah, that's right.
That way you keep the mug books?
Yeah.
Hey, no kidding, Friday. I gotta have some coffee. My stomach's growling.
All right, Fry. We'll get you some coffee. You know that whole bit about Joe doesn't ring. I'm afraid we can't buy it.
Okay, so it's a phony story, but I'll give you the right one.
Where'd you get the diamonds?
From a guy out in the valley.
Where in the valley?
Out at the Astor Studios.
At a picture lot?
Yeah.
Frank, let's head out the freeway. We're going out the valley.
Hey, wait a minute. I don't want to see him. He'll blow his top if he finds out I told you. This guy's crazy, a real nut. You better drop me back at the jail. I'll wait.
How do we know this isn't another stall?
It isn't. You'll see.
What's this guy's name, this friend of yours?
He's no friend, just a guy I met, had a business deal.
What's his name?
Calls himself Fred Roberts.
We took Fry to breakfast, and then we returned him to the city jail. We went back to the city hall and rechecked the name Fred Roberts through R&I. There was no record. Those with similar names were checked. None of them matched the description of the suspect. 11:20 a.m., Frank and I headed for the San Fernando Valley. Astor Studios was one of the older lots in town. It had been years since they'd made a picture of their own. Most of their business now was in renting stage space to television companies. Frank and I checked at the gate, and we were sent up to personnel. The company records on Roberts showed that he'd been at the studio for 4 years in the property department. According to the girl in the personnel office, Roberts was highly regarded by his employers and fellow workers. She told us that we could find him in the prop building on the back lot. Frank and I started back to see him.
That must be it back there, the big building with all the windows.
Yeah.
Sure a lot going on, huh?
Yeah, TV's using a lot of movies, I guess. Most of the good stuff's on film, isn't it?
So about all Elizabeth likes to watch is the wrestling matches or those real old movies. I don't get to see much of the new stuff. If she's not looking at some show that's 20 years old, the kids are watching a puppet show.
Well, you need 2 sets then.
I've been thinking about that show. Not that I don't like wrestling, but I'd like to see the ball game once in a while. And those news forum shows. You know, keep up with what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Looks like it here, huh? Yeah, that's him back there with the spray gun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Roberts? Mr. Roberts?
Yeah?
I'd like to talk to you, sir.
Just a minute. I got to hit this before it dries.
All right, sir.
All right, now what can I do for you?
Police officers, Mr. Roberts.
Wait a minute. Who'd you say you were?
Police officers.
Oh, I'm sorry I caused you this trouble. I thought at first you were bill collectors coming in here like you did and all. You can understand that, can't you? I've had a little trouble lately. I didn't mean to cause a fuss.
Yeah, sure. We'd like to talk to you downtown.
Well, what about?
Some diamonds that were stolen.
Certainly, I'll go with you, but why me? What makes you think I had anything to do with it?
Just routine, Mr. Roberts. Your name came up, and we have to check it out.
More than glad to help. I hope you don't think that I was trying to run away from you before. It was just that I thought you were someone else.
All right, Mr. Roberts. You want to get your coat?
Sure.
I'll have to call the front office and tell them where I'm going. I'm the only one here today.
No, we'll call them on the way out.
Fine. A lot of work. Hope this won't take long. Should I take my car? I wouldn't like to trouble you to bring me back.
No trouble, Mr. Roberts.
Sure a nice day, isn't it? Good for exteriors.
Exteriors?
Yeah, outdoor shots. Good light.
Oh, yeah.
Run into a lot of trouble if you haven't got good light. Like to take a look around?
No, afraid we haven't got the time, Mr. Roberts. All right, here's the car.
Say, I don't want to tell you fellas your business, but can't we talk here? I really shouldn't leave.
No, I'm afraid not, Mr. Roberts. There's someone downtown we want you to meet.
Oh?
Yeah, a man by the name of Ruman, Sam Ruman.
You said Ruman?
Yeah, that's right.
No use trying to kid you then.
Sir?
About the diamond?
No, I'm afraid not.
How'd you find them?
That's not important. Do you have the rest of the stones?
Most of them. Some of them are up in San Francisco. I can give you the name of the man who has them. He picked up some of them. I read about it in the paper.
How about the rest of them?
I buried them on a golf course south of here. I can show you the place. You want to get them now?
Yeah, we'd like to, yeah.
We'll go over the pass and into La Brea. Straight out La Brea. I'll tell you where to turn.
All right.
Fry, he the one that told you?
You planned the robbery yourself, did you?
Yeah, I had to raise money. Funny.
What's that?
You work in pictures in any job and people think you make a lot of money. It's not true. It's like any other job. Good living, but you don't make as much as people think you do. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
Planned the thing for a long time. Figured every angle. Be able to pay off my car, all my bills. There was no gag about me thinking you were bill collectors. I've been trying to find my car for the past month. And take it away. You know how it is.
Yeah, sure.
All my life I've been working to make something out of myself. Everybody in this town seems to do okay. Money, big home, a car. 12 years I've been working as a prop man. 12 years. I got tired of waiting. I wanted all those things. I figured I waited long enough, you know?
Yeah.
What's wrong with trying to build some kind of a future for yourself? I just wanted a future, that's all.
Yeah, well, you got one.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, in your hometown as well as mine, more and more king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima because of Fatima quality. Fatimas are distinctive, with a really different flavor and aroma. They give you an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Get a pack of Fatimas tomorrow. See if you don't agree that in Fatima, the difference is quality. That's king-size Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Fred Roberts was tried and convicted of robbery in the second degree. Robbery in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary or in the county jail. He is now serving his time in the county jail.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this very moment in Korea, the lives of soldiers wounded in battle today are being saved by transfusions of blood and blood plasma. You can give these men the gift of life, a pint of your blood. The Department of Defense is calling for all Americans to roll up their sleeves. There is no substitute for blood. The need is urgent. The need is now. Call your local Red Cross chapter or blood donor center for an appointment. And please keep it.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Lance Frazier. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Herb Ellis, Vic Rodman. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Friday, hear the Mario Lanza Show on NBC.